Something moves in the mists. Something sinister.
Yes.
Thorn. Rot.
Thorn, rot,
Plague.
plague.
And claw.
Ooh.
The affliction spreads.
What?
It hungers for more.
Okay. Ooh, those
Dread
look beefy
light
boys.
in the wildwood, which shifts and bites.
Oh, I will. Ah. Oh.
Accept
Oh.
our hope.
Oh.
The
What?
ancient power
Huh?
of the Asmiri.
What?
Beware the spirits that yearn for freedom. And the heart of evil that waits in the dark.
Oh god, scary, scary. Too freaky. Wildwood Ascendancies? We get another Ascendancy? Different gems?
Ready yourself.
Oh!
I will be waiting.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a treat today. Oh, my gosh. Ultimatum is returning. Everybody's going to be crazy. Wow, that was great. That was great. Okay, so we are once again getting ready for a new season. Hello, fellow gamers. Welcome back to Phalantis Plays. Today we are reacting, of course, to the Affliction content reveal and trailer. And we're going to be going over patch notes. And if Ziggy D is done posting his video on YouTube, we will probably review that interview as well. Without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, hey, Chris Wilson. What? No, wait. Hold on. Wait, something else popped up. Hold on. There we go. I don't know why I didn't do that one. Okay,
Chris
here we
Wilson
go.
from Grinding Gear Games.
Hello, Chris
Thanks for
Wilson.
joining us for today's Path of Exile live stream.
Oh,
we have a packed
thank
show
you for
today,
inviting
with
me.
announcements for Path of Exile 2, as well as the exclusive unveiling of Path of Exile Affliction,
Yes.
which launches on December 8th on PC
Okay,
and Mac,
so we're doing
and on December
Path of Exile
13th on
2.
console.
Let's see what that's all about.
Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so
Oh
make sure
yeah,
you follow the
couldn't
instructions
get
below
that.
in
I
order to
never
play your
can. They
Huntsman
always do
wings.
these live streams a little bit too early for me.
We'll start with Path of Exile 2, where
Yeah,
Jonathan
okay.
will walk you through our latest announcements.
That's
Mark will then take you on a deep dive
great
into the
contents.
It's been a
Okay,
few months since we introduced you to the Druid in Path of Exile 2.
all right.
But one of the things that we're really focusing on now is how varied each of the classes feels to play. The Monk darts around quickly from enemy to enemy, building and unleashing combos.
Yes,
If he
it
doesn't stay in combat, he
does.
loses momentum and has to build it up again.
A little bit loud.
The Warrior, on the other hand, is like a slow but unstoppable freight train.
Okay,
Warrior
like the
commits to
Marauder.
big attacks and relies on stunning his enemies to stay safe in the thick of combat.
Yeah,
When an opening
like the
presents
Marauder.
itself, a warrior can use even larger attacks to demolish his enemies.
Looks pretty cool though.
The Huntress seamlessly moves from melee to ranged combat and back.
Yeah.
The true damage potential of the Huntress is only unlocked when you learn to combine ranged and melee abilities together.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if that's going to work out too well. Two abilities,
And then there are the
generally more
spellcasters.
difficult.
The
Maybe they want
Sorceress
everything
is
to
a
be
pure
two
caster who
ability.
much prefers to stay at range and drop powerful spells on her foes. If she finds herself surrounded by enemies, she would rather use an ability to escape than to take them on directly.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that if the ones that have two abilities
The Druid is
necessary
also a
is not going to be
spellcaster,
as
but
strong
unlike
as the one that only
Sorceress,
have
he uses
one.
the spells as a means to support his melee abilities.
Oh, that looks so
And by melee
cool.
abilities, we mean he can turn into a giant animal and rip his enemies to pieces.
Wow. That's so awesome. Cannot wait. I want to play that so
Each of these
bad.
classes feels extremely different to play, but we want to go even further. It's time to check out the mercenary.
You can be
Not a job out
a
there I won't
mercenary.
take, so long as the pay's good and a crossbow can solve it.
Okay, crossbow user. Ooh. Ooh. It's like a gun. Wow. Whoa.
I'll take them all down, one bolt at a time.
When thinking about each new class, we really try to think about how we can make combat feel different from all the others. For the mercenary, that difference is the crossbow.
Yeah.
Crossbow is fundamentally different than a regular bow because it fires instantly instead of needing to be drawn back.
Okay.
This means that you need immediate feedback. Clicking the fire button should make the character shoot instantly.
It's like a
just like in
gun.
a shooter. As soon as we experienced that, we realized that there are a lot of design lessons to learn from shooters, and so we fully embraced them.
Oh, interesting.
In Path of Exile 2, we have crossbows that work like sniper rifles, shotguns, and assault rifles.
Cool.
But in order to really get shooter-like gameplay, we wanted to go further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement. You can now
What?
walk around in any direction independent of aiming.
Oh,
In fact, if this is your
sweet.
preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using.
What about their
You can change between click to move
skills?
or WASD at any time.
Oh, that's gonna be so
You can only
crazy.
hold 2 crossbows at a time, but Path of Exile 2 is
That's
all about interesting combinations
awesome.
of abilities, and this is where ammo skills come in. This is a burst shot crossbow, and right now I have armor piercing ammo equipped, which makes it very effective when facing a group of enemies, since it pierces right through them.
Cool.
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger single target, it might be a good idea to switch to incendiary. The more projectiles hit the
Burn
target, the stronger
down.
the ignite, so you'll want to get up nice, close and personal with this one.
Ah,
If you have a bunch of targets
interesting.
running at you, you might want to slow them down. In this case, you could switch to permafrost burst shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will chill them, and potentially even freeze them in place.
Oh, and because all the links
Once you have some frozen
themselves
enemies though, you can switch back to armor piercing. Shooting a frozen enemy with armor piercing burst
Have
shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies.
all the gems themselves have the links, then you can do all these skills and you're not gonna lose power. Oh,
Another
that's gonna
feature
be
crossbows have
interesting.
is attachments. This is a grenade launcher. As you can see, when I equip it, it appears on the underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots, and you can augment these with support gems, just like regular skills.
What? Wait, what?
These grenades take a while to explode, so it's a good idea to pair them
Interesting.
with some kind of crowd control, like permafrost burst shot.
Oh, yeah, you kind of messed that up a little bit there. Oh, I like how they're doing the steps in this map. This is really cool.
We have other grenades too, though. This attachment is a flash grenade. It does barely any damage, but it does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener before you run into combat.
Oh, sweet. I don't know if that's a big enough amount of stun for that,
Now,
though.
here's
I'd rather
another
have more,
attachment,
just
an
more
oil
damage.
grenade. Firing one of these grenades coats the ground and nearby enemies in oil.
So they take
Oil
more
slows
fire
enemies
damage?
down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic.
No, okay. Slow seems a little bit better than stun, to be honest.
Now, another thing that
What
oil can
are
do
these
is be set on
effects?
fire. Any burning enemy or
Nice.
explosion will
Yeah.
ignite the oil,
Good.
causing extra burning damage.
Good, yeah, see, oil way better. Way better than stun.
One of the problems with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually. This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage.
I
But
see.
thankfully, you can equip an additional crossbow in your second weapon set to deal with the weaknesses of your primary weapon. This is a rapid shot crossbow. Rapid shot is great for closing on enemies because you can shoot while running. In Path of Exile 2, we now have the ability to allow you to use some skills while moving.
Oh,
Being able to
cool.
create skills like this opens up a lot of new design space.
Yeah, that
and
is
allows us
really
to
awesome.
really increase the pace of combat.
Yeah. The being able to move while attack is... That's cool. That's awesome.
The armor-piercing version of Rapid Shot slowly erodes a monster's armor. Once the armor is fully broken, you can easily switch back to Burst Shot to deal much more damage.
This looks like a lower level area. No, I can't see the light.
Being able to run while shooting with Rapid Shot is also great for when you want to perform a fighting retreat.
Nice. You know what this reminds me a lot of? The gameplay for this, it reminds me a lot
Using
of
permafrost ammo
Factorio,
with
actually.
Rapid Shot is also useful if you need to retreat. When you shoot the ground, it creates ice crystals.
Oh,
If
cool.
you draw monsters back over these crystals, they explode, chilling the monsters.
Nice.
It's great if you want to set up a safe zone before pulling the next pack.
Yeah, so cool. That's a really interesting gameplay style.
Slowing enemies down can come in handy if you want to use the incendiary version of Rapid Shot. Using this skill requires that you charge up a little bit before it fires, but as it continues to heat up, it will do more and more damage.
Wow. Looks awesome.
It has a really large clip size, so you can just keep firing and firing with it. But the other really useful feature is that when the crossbow is heated up, it adds extra fire damage to any grenade that you launch.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of things to think about there. That's a pretty cool idea.
Now, I've been using explosive grenades here, but it will work equally as well with flash or oil grenades too. If you use it with oil grenades, the oil will catch fire immediately.
Nice. That's going to be a nice combo. I wonder how Ignite's going to work in this game. God, I really like the attack animations from the monsters. It really has a lot, even more
Another
feeling in it
crossbow
than
type you
the
can find
Path
is
of Exile
Power Shot.
1.
This one works just like a classic sniper rifle. Use it with armor-piercing ammo and it will penetrate armor on targets.
Whoa.
So it's a good idea to use when something's really tough.
Yeah, probably not so good against mobs of enemies.
Now this skill has another interesting interaction with armor break. If an enemy has its armor broken, then your power shot hits a weak spot and does a huge amount of single target damage, with a bunch of extra stun for good measure.
So they're counting armor as like a second stat you can chip away at. That's cool. So you can like
The
be
incendiary
destroying
version of Power
people's
Shot is more
armors.
like a rocket launcher. It does a big explosive blast at a distance.
That's cool. Yeah, you can see the little gray thing underneath their life bars is their armor. Once you get their
One of the
armor
really
off, then they're
useful
not
features of this
being...
version is that you can explode any grenades that happen to be on the ground.
Oh, cool. Like a 1-2 combo.
This combo
Yeah.
also works really well with incendiary rapid shot. I'm going to charge up the heat on my crossbow, shoot out a bunch of grenades, and then start the fireworks with a power shot.
Interesting.
The ice version of power shot creates frost walls at a distance. This is great for crowd controlling monsters in tight passages.
Yeah.
The wall
Oh,
segments have other uses
cool.
too. If they
Those-
get destroyed by monsters, then they will explode, doing a small amount of damage.
These frost walls look awesome. I'm not sure about these defensive kind of mechanics though.
Now,
Like,
remember that burst shot combo with frozen enemies we did earlier? That works with ice walls too. Let's put burst shot back on.
yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Now
It
I can
seems
fill
too
up this area
slow.
with ice walls, then shoot them with armor-piercing burst shot for a huge amount of damage.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good combo. It seemed like the fire grenade one was better though.
Alright, it's time to face the boss for this area. Let's see how we fare against her with all the skills I've shown you so far.
Ursa, the matron. The matron's got some big ass garden shears. Ah, that's so cool. Oh, God. Oh, what did I just watch? Oh, that's so gross. Dang, GGG. Oh, you're getting that dark thing going. Jeez. Oh, this is the most disgusting boss I've ever seen. Wow. Oh my. This is awesome. She summons like secondary boss, a little secondary boss. The unwanted. Oh my god. This is... Better heal up, buddy. Ah, those grenades. Those grenades do a lot of damage. Yeah, what is going on? That is
It feels totally
gross.
different than anything we've made before, and shows you the range of what's possible in Path of Exile 2.
That's pretty sweet. Oh. That's gonna be pretty awesome. Oh, I can't believe that boss. Ugh.
We're going to be showing off a lot more about Path of Exile 2 as we approach its beta, but in the meantime, we've got a Path of Exile 1 expansion coming out next week.
Yep.
I'm going to hand over to Mark, also known as Neon, to show you what's in store for PoE 1.
Okay.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, let's just go ahead and get straight on into it. Here's the trailer for Path of Exile Affliction.
Okay, we saw that already.
Something moves in the mists.
So that's going to be interesting. That was nice.
In the Affliction League, you will encounter sacred wisps, which beckon you to enter overgrown passageways that lead to the Viridian Wildwood.
Oh, sub-area.
A vile affliction has covered this forest with a foreboding darkness.
Mm-hmm.
You'll need to uncover the forest mysteries to put a stop to the source of the affliction.
All
As
right.
you approach the darkness, the wisps burn away its affliction. Make sure you tread carefully,
Oh,
because they only
cool.
have a limited amount of power. But be warned, the darkness is full of cursed monsters that emerge to kill you.
Yes, this is a lot like
As you explore, you might see other types
Delirium.
of wisps trapped inside the darkness. The Wildwood is trying to guide you towards
And,
clues about its affliction. Follow the trails
the
of
other
wisps by
one?
collecting them, and you may uncover many different secrets. New characters to find, shrines, boss battles, and all kinds of new encounters are lurking in the forest just waiting for you to discover.
interesting.
There are many rewards
What is
to
that
earn for those brave
weapon?
enough to seek them.
Look at that cleaver. Oh, that.
When the sacred wisps run out of energy, they will return you back to where you came from. Any other types of wisps you have collected will return with you to Rayclast.
Okay.
These wisps, having been saved from the affliction, disperse into the environment and inhabit randomly chosen monsters in the area.
Wait. Okay. So the wisps go into the affliction and then they come out and then they go into monsters. So the side area is kind of connected to the main area. So it's like a side area league and a map league. That's a really cool idea. So yeah, if you look at that, yeah,
Using
there's
their
so many
power
things
and
to
also
see
their
in this,
rewards.
just this beginning part.
The different types of wisps have different effects on monsters, and sometimes more than one type will inhabit a single monster, making the fight
Ooh.
even harder and even more rewarding. If this happens to a boss, you could be in for a tough fight, but if you can overcome it, your efforts will not be in vain. Primal Wisps grant an item rarity bonus to inhabited monsters. Wild Wisps grant an item quantity bonus, and Vivid Wisps cause them to drop currency items.
Oh, cool.
If a monster gets all three types, they'll drop more items of a higher rarity and a lot of currency.
Wow.
While exploring the Wildwood, you might find some of the last few Asmeri wanderers who have managed to survive in the forest since it was cursed. Each of them have different survival specializations, and they are willing to teach you if you agree to help them defeat the source of the Affliction, the King in the Mists.
They're gonna teach us.
Choose which of the Asmeri that you will complete quests for to unlock one of 3 new Ascendancy classes, which you can have in addition to your regular Ascendancy class.
That's insane.
Up to 8 points for these classes are unlocked as you complete more quests.
What? 2 ascendancies. Wait a minute. How soon can you do this? That's a lot of extra power. Can you do this in the campaign?
For the Asmeri you are training under. The Warden of Eves can teach you to become a Warden of the Magi, a powerful class that takes advantage of wilderness knowledge. A Warden of the Magi can learn to use tinctures which coat their weapon, granting various powerful effects. You can equip tinctures in your flask slots and toggle them on and off at will.
Oh, they're tinctures.
You can only have one enabled at
What? Brain exploding. What? So you take up flask slots to increase weapon power, but reduce flask power. Okay.
But the effects are quite conditional, so you may want to have more than one equipped and swap
But
between
it's
them during
permanent.
combat. For example, equip the Ironwood Tincture to gain the benefit of always stunning enemies on full life.
Oh.
Tinctures can also get random mods. This one in particular adds stacks of wither to targets on full life and steals frenzy charges on hit, which makes it great as an initiator.
What?
When you are fighting rare monsters or finishing off tough bosses, you will want to swap to the Oak Branch Tincture, which grants Culling Strike, increased damage against enemies on low life, and has a chance to steal a mod from rare enemies.
Oh my god, they're redoing flasks?
You can buy more tinctures from the Warden of Eves using Primal Wisps when you find her in the forest.
But it's only
Keep
this
an eye out
one.
for her. As a Warden of the Magi gains more Ascendancy points, they gain access to more skills that let them further specialize in tinctures. For example,
okay, so everybody could do
Nature's Concoction
tinctures.
allows you to invest in having your tinctures enhance your flasks. This Ascendancy skill makes it important to think about which slots your tinctures are placed in, and what flasks they are adjacent to.
Cool!
You'll have better uptime on those flasks, and they'll be stronger as a result.
Oh my.
But there are plenty more skills to choose even if you don't want to engage with tinctures. For example, another new ability to unlock is Barkskin. It's a reservation skill that causes...
What is this weapon? What is that? It's a new weapon for sure. I want to know what it is and why they keep on using it with, what is that skill? Oh, I forget what the name of that skill is. Oh, I've got to look that up. It's I know it's a red gem. I used it for my barbarian. Not my barbarian, my gladiator. What should it cleave? No. Not Sunder, Valkyrie, no. What? What is it? Does anybody remember? I can't remember. I'm not gonna leave until I figure it out. Not exsanguinate. Oh, I totally forget. Not reap. Oh wait, no, maybe it's a green gem. It is a green gem. Lacerate. That's what it is. Lacerate. Yes, okay. So they're doing lacerate
Bark to grow
with this
all over your
crazy
body,
thing.
increasing armor.
What is that sword?
As you take damage, the bark falls off, increasing your evasion.
Okay, interesting.
Over time, the bark will grow back, removing the evasion bonus but increasing your armor again.
Huh.
The Breaker of Oaths can teach you to become a Warlock of the Mists, an
Okay.
ascendancy class specializing in the darker arts of the Izmiri.
No tinctures,
One
I
powerful
guess.
ability you can choose is Blood Hunt, which grants an active skill called Ravenous. This skill lets you see what type a monster is under its life bar, whether it is a demon, beast, undead, construct, or humanoid.
Okay.
Consuming a corpse with this skill gives a buff to damage against that type of monster, and reduces damage taken by it. You can only have one type active at a time, so it's a good idea to choose wisely for the area that you are in. Some bosses, like the Maven, are eldritch in nature and don't conform to the regular corpses that you have access to. But don't
Oh.
worry. The Breaker of Oaths has a shop where you can trade wild wisps for corpses that you can place on the ground wherever you are.
Ah.
Buy an eldritch corpse and you will be able to get the bonus while fighting eldritch entities like the Maven.
Okay.
You may notice that most of the corpses he sells are not monsters you normally encounter. You might want to try turning some of these corpses into specters, to take advantage of some of the unique abilities that these monsters have.
That's interesting. Wow.
The Warlock of the Mists gets access to many other abilities. For example, there is a trio of curses that you can pick from. One of these curses targets your minions, giving them life degen and making them explode for massive damage when they are near death. One of them prevents enemies from dealing damage for the latter portion of its duration, which is quite powerful
What?
against bosses.
What?
This curse creates the interesting build decision of whether or not you should increase curse duration or reduce it.
What?
The final curse is a mark that causes enemy phantasms to be spawned when you hit the marked enemy. These phantasms aren't on your side, so they work well with on-hit and on-kill trigger effects, for example. The
I
Primal
don't know how to
Huntress
use
can teach
that.
you to become a Wildwood Primalist. Unlike the other new ascendancies, the Primal Huntress lets you customize your tree.
Oh.
You do this with charms that you can buy from the Primal Huntress for Vivid Wisps. Charms have randomly generated mods, which give stats from regular ascendancy classes,
Oh, you can't
allowing you to
modify
create
them.
your own hybrid ascendancy class.
Oh my god.
Charms are magic items that are aligned with different attributes. So for example, this Ursine charm is strength aligned, and has gotten the melee hits have a chance to fortify stat from the champion,
Okay.
and the ability to stop your movement speed going below base from the Juggernaut. This interline Corvine charm lets you get the stat that makes your consecrated ground effects linger from the Inquisitor, and the effect that makes cursed enemies explode from the Occultist.
Okay.
Some of the combination of mods that you might find for sale on charms can be extremely powerful, so keep a lookout for the Primal Huntress's shop even if you are not playing as a Primalist. As a Primalist, you also get access to a few other interesting abilities. Use war cries next to corpses and they have a chance to drop an extra item. It opens nearby chests too.
Oh!
The Primalist also gets access to a small extra backpack, just in case you find yourself needing to cart more items to town during your map runs.
Oh, cool! What?
If you are unhappy with the class you picked, or you just happen to find a really great item for another one of the classes, you are able to change which class you are using next time you find one of the Asmiri Wanderers.
Oh,
Just
cool.
remember that you will have to do their quests in order to gain the ascendancy points for that class.
Okay, what are their quests?
These quests will lead you towards the ultimate goal of the Asmiri.
Oh.
Finding the King in the Mists, defeating him, and cleansing the forest of its affliction. Once and for all.
Oh, new end
There
boss.
are new uniques to find, rewards to claim, and new ascendancy classes to master in the Affliction League.
That's awesome.
Now that we've covered what's in the league, let's talk about some of the changes you can expect to the core game in 3.23. For a start, Ultimatum is finally going core. When talking to players at ExileCon, it was the #1 feature that people requested.
Okay, I didn't
When
play
playing
during
through
this
in-game
league.
maps, you may sometimes encounter the Trial Master, who offers you a choice to undertake a deadly Val trial in exchange for great rewards.
Okay.
If you defeat the trial, he offers to go double or nothing with you. Do you take the risk and go for an even better reward? Or do you take the winnings you have already earned off the table and go home? We've done a full rebalance of Ultimatum and have added many new mods and rewards, including both new and reworked uniques.
Nice.
The base number of rounds for an Ultimatum
Wait,
trial
what?
is now...
Let's check out these uniques. That ring is crazy. Is it like random? Maximum quality is 200? I don't know what that means. Look at all those stats, though. That's crazy. Hydroscale boots. When hit, gain a random movement speed modifier from 40% reduced to 100% increased until hit again. What? That's weird. I guess you can use the cannot be reduced movements like it'd be really good on a Juggernaut or a not Saboteur, what's a Trickster.
now always 10, with a chance to spawn the Trial Master boss fight on the 10th round, if you are able to make it that far.
Okay.
As part of 3.23, we have also removed Metamorph from the game. All the Catalyst rewards from Metamorph have now been moved to be rewards for Ultimatum.
Wait, what? Metamorph is gone? Wait.
All the Catalyst As part of 3.23, we have also removed Metamorph from the game.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Metamorph is gone.
All the Catalyst rewards from Metamorph have now been moved to be rewards for Ultimatum.
Rewards from Ultimatum are now the catalyst. Oh, interesting.
We have also added a new Val-themed Catalyst that works on corrupted items.
Nice.
As is normal for most content that gets added to in-game, we have introduced new Ultimatum passive skills to the
Okay,
Atlas tree.
I think Ultimatum is gonna be... That's gonna be the one to do, probably, this league.
One great example is the Keystone Grueling Gauntlet. It makes Ultimatums last 3 extra rounds, but you cannot choose the modifiers, and it prevents the final Trial Master boss fight from spawning.
Ah.
The level of challenge becomes extreme during the last 3 rounds, and not being able to choose the modifiers makes it even harder. But the rewards are insane, and for those with very high-end characters, it might be a bet worth
Wow,
making.
yeah,
There
a
are lots
bit,
of other
probably
Atlas passive skills
super
you can
worth
pick
it.
from for Ultimatum, so choose wisely. Now, it's time to talk about one of the largest metagame changes we've ever made. There were 3 systems in Path of Exile that were all trying to subtly modify the behavior of skills. These were alternate quality gems, Labyrinth Helmet enchants, and unique threshold jewels. We've combined all of these together to create a new system called Transfigured Gems
What?
that allows us to fully achieve the goal of these 3 systems and then some. Transfigured Gems are alternative versions of existing skill gems that have different functionality and balance from their regular versions. We have added a huge number of these with interesting variations that drastically change how existing skills play. For example, Frostbomb of Instability. It changes it from a cooldown skill that you can cast occasionally for a large explosion into a skill that you can cast continuously but deals less damage and doesn't apply cold exposure. It changes the role of Frostbomb from a utility skill into a main damaging skill.
Interesting.
Another example is Detonate Dead of Scavenging. You can't use it on corpses that were created by Desecrate or Unearth, but in exchange it does a whole lot more damage. You won't be able to use it as your main reliable source of damage, but it's a great skill to use as a falling utility to get some extreme burst damage. Raise Zombie of Falling. Instead of raising a zombie from a corpse, you summon them from mid-air. They fall to their death, dealing AoE damage where they land. While this sounds like a physical damage version of Firestorm, you should consider that it scales with minion damage and also triggers on-death minion
Oh,
effects.
interesting.
Blight of Contagion. This version of Blight is now spread by Contagion, so you can use it as part of your Essence Drain build. We have a huge number of these. Transfigure Firestorm into Firestorm with Meteors, transfigure Blade Trap into Blade Trap of Greatswords,
How
transfigure
many?
Barrage into Barrage of Volley Fire, and so on. There is a lot to experiment with, and we look forward to seeing what builds you can come up with.
Okay.
But how do you get Transfigured Gems? The Divine Font at the end of the Eternal Labyrinth has been changed to a gem crafting device that can modify your skill and support gems in a lot of new ways.
Oh, Lab Runner's gonna be busy.
One of the options you can now choose is to turn a skill gem into one of 3 transfigured gems.
I don't know if that's a
But
good
that isn't
thing.
all the Divine Font can do. It has a lot of other gem crafting options you can use. For example, you can add quality to gems, add experience to gems, sacrifice a gem for 1 or more treasure keys to open Azara's chests, and you can even exchange support gems for exceptional support gems like Empower or Enlighten.
Wait, you can exchange gems for...
And experience to gems, options you can use. For example, you can add quality to gems, add experience to gems, sacrifice a gem for 1 or more treasure keys to open Azara's chests, and you can even exchange support gems for exceptional support gems like Empower or Enlighten. These are just some of the options you'll find the Divine Font is now capable of. In order to replace the rewards in Heist that previously gave alternate quality gems, we have done a rebalance of the rewards of Heist as well.
Okay.
Experimented base types have been rebalanced. New replica uniques have been added and old ones changed,
Oh,
and we have
okay.
increased the amount of currency from display cases as well. On top of this, we have gone through and buffed the quality stats on most damage-dealing skills. In most cases, they will be significantly more powerful than before, and also more interesting.
What? Wait, what? What?
In most cases, they will be significantly changed, and we have increased the amount of currency from display cases as well.
Okay.
On top of this, we have gone through and buffed the quality stats on most damage-dealing skills.
Oh, the quality stats on damage deal. Okay.
In most cases, they will be significantly more powerful than before,
Sure.
and also more interesting.
Okay.
Overall, this is one of the largest metagame shifts that we've ever done. There are so many crazy new skill combinations to plan around, so we expect to see some really interesting new builds.
Well, everybody who was wanting new gems, I don't know what you think about this. It's kind of like a new skills.
Next up, I'd like to hand back over to Chris to talk about the new supporter packs.
At this point, we'd usually talk about the League supporter packs. We're doing things a bit differently this year.
Okay.
Rather than releasing League supporter packs today and then our annual core packs 2 weeks later, we've combined it all together into a strong set of core supporter packs that will be released alongside Path of Exile Affliction next week.
Nice.
The series contains 5 packs, each with its
Surfboard.
full value in points and a collection of exclusive cosmetic microtransactions. The higher packs contain physical merchandise. We'll unveil the full details of each of the packs at release next week.
Okay,
But in the
cool.
meantime, here's a sneak peek of some of their exclusive cosmetic microtransactions. These packs will be available for purchase when Path of Exile Affliction launches on the 8th of December. Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Ah!
We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post Path of Exile Affliction's full patch notes.
Okay.
With the release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for Affliction's release. Keep an eye
Nice.
on the news.
I
On release
will.
weekend, we expect to launch the new mystery box and this season's Kyrix Vault Pass. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to exploring the Viridian Wildwood with you next week.
Me too.
We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Holy cow. That's a lot of stuff to go over. That's a lot of stuff. I am blown away. So there's not going to be any more. It's not going to be searching. There's not going to be any more Helm enchants. All the old helm enchants. Those are gonna go up in value by a lot. In the legacy, unless they're just removing them. They may. I'm not sure. They usually don't. Because imagine if you can have one of these kinds of gems with one of the old helmets. All the old helm enchants are going to be worth a lot. All of them. Jeez. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's check out let's go through. There's a lot of stuff going on. So basically the wisps is going to be like a combination of having like a separate side area like Abyss or yeah, like Abyss has the abyssal depths, but then in those depths you get wisps, which then come back into the map and buff things like Sentinel or like Torment, and then you get either extra currency, quantity, or rarity. And if you get extra quantity and currency, then you get like a ton of currency. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. You can also get another ascension tree, basically. It looks like basically it's two with like one that's custom or customizable. One is tinctures, the other one is curses. I have a feeling just from experience that since the tinctures, boy, I'm not sure though, because the tinctures take up flask slots, but sometimes, usually there's like one flask slot that you just don't need. But tinctures on a Pathfinder, man, that's going to be crazy, right? Isn't it? Boy, I don't know. That's going to be very interesting to see. I think maybe, but then you're obviously reducing flask power too. If you're on a Pathfinder. If you're using a Mage Blood, obviously you want to go with the Warlock or the Primalist. Primalist looks pretty cool because of the shouts. Getting extra items. Like that. Shouts getting extra items is going to be cool. Yeah, the corpse thing, I'm not sure. Occultists and them will probably use it, obviously, but... Or like the witches will use it. I'm not sure about other... There's some other minion builds that are up that'll use it. The next big thing, Ultimatum. Ultimatum is probably going to be the place where people get currency if they've nerfed the Forbidden Trove. I'm not sure. We'll look at patch notes later, see if that happened, or maybe they'll talk about it in Ziggy D's interview. But this gem rework thing that's crazy. No more boot enchants. No more glove enchants. Glove enchants didn't really do much, but the boot enchants people used for the increased movement speed, those are going to be worth something. All those increased movement speed boot skills are going to be worth something. And all the helm enchant skills are going to be worth something. Depends on which gems like get transmogrified or whatever their wording for that was into some crazy other kinds of gems. There's so many, I guess. We'll find out in patch notes, but yeah, that's an insane change. And I don't think it works with vol gems though. So you'd have to do vol and then vol it again. But yeah. Lab runners. Lab running might be the way to go though. Especially early on when people are looking for for specific kinds of skills, lab running might be the way to go. You just fill up your chest with your stash with all the different gems, and then you can sell out for keys, extra chance at chests, and also yeah, just become like a gem vendor basically. Interesting. Very interesting direction they're going. Okay, let's see. Let's see if Ziggy D posted his.
Hang in there, boy.
No, not yet. Is it on the Path of Exile? Content reveal, official trailer? No. So we'll I guess we'll start going over the patch notes and seeing, because I think CGD live. Okay, yeah,
We get one mid-roll ad break. Sorry, I gotta eat.
Oh, okay, he's setting it up right now. Okay. So we'll catch that after we look at the patch notes. So let's first look at this this main page that Path of Exile they usually have set up. So what we've got here, December expansion includes a Fiction Challenge League, 3 new Ascendancy classes, the Return to Ultimatum League, and over 100 new Transfigured Gems. 100 Transfigured Gems. Okay. It's all from the trailer. Control your challenge and reward. As you return any wisps you have saved, so you can go in and then come out right away. And those wisps, oh, I see. So you have to choose between wanting to go into the woods and just collecting the wisps. Okay. Primal Wisps grant an item rarity bonus to inhabited monsters. Wild Wisps. Okay, so if you get a bunch of Vivid Wisps, that might be good. I'm not sure. It makes them harder though. So probably not during... Yeah, not during the campaign. If you can get these guys quests complete during the campaign, it might be worth it. Possibly, very possibly worth it, because that's a lot of extra, it can be a lot of extra power. But I'm not sure. It seems like still probably like you want to wait until end game, or yeah, to end game to do it. Just because you don't want the wisps coming out and making everything harder to kill. Zero Wonders, yeah, okay. Okay, so you've got a couple examples. These are unmodifiable, so you can't craft them. So it's just going to be like randomly what you get. So people are probably going to want to just, you know, anytime they go in, they can see. But you have to find them. So random. Maybe there's a way that you can actually like always find them. I'm not sure. Okay. Corpses. Oh, interesting. These corpses have their own skills too. You can't explode them. But you can raise them. It's interesting. Okay. Ah, some new items. Plus 12 to... Plus 12 to level of socketed skill gems. %, increased armor. Plus 84 to maximum mana. -2 to level of socketed skill gems per socketed gem. Oh, interesting. So if you want to put 1 gem, it'll be plus 12. If you put all 6 gems, then it cancels out. Oh, so interesting. So if you put in 4 gems, it'll be plus 4 to the level. So if the level like really matters the most for your damage, then that's gonna I'm not sure of how much that's worth it. But maybe for like things, especially if it's something where you're like, it's a skill, it's a skill, it's a skill. Like 3 gems for just, yeah. And then, because then those 3 gems gain 6 skill levels. Or 2 gems, yeah, that's interesting. Increased armor and evasion. They put it on a, but they put it on a Colosseum plate. Most people who want high skill gems aren't using armor bases, right? Like they're using a hybrid base. Not sure. Trickster's Smile. Okay. Increase armor and evasion. Reflects cold damage, fire damage, and lightning damage. When an enemy hit deals elemental damage to you, the resistance to those elements becomes 0 for 4 seconds. Okay. That's... is there something that you can do to give enemies elemental damage? What gives enemies elemental damage? Because that'd be pretty cool. Not sure. Okay. The Untouched Soul Gold Amulet. Plus 40 to life for each empty red socket. Plus 225 to accuracy for each empty green socket on any equipped item. What? 40 to mana for each empty blue socket? For each empty white socket on any equipped item. What? That's weird. The 40 to max life is good. I'm not sure about the mana and the accuracy. The elemental resistance might be okay, but 18 is still not too much. 40 maximum life is pretty interesting. Each empty red socket. I don't get it. I don't get it. That's weird. That's really weird. Okay. This I'm kind of curious about. Applies a random quality type and amount of quality to a corrupted ring, amulet, or belt. So does this mean you just have to like... Oh, it's a random amount of quality. Okay, so you just click it until you get 20 of the whichever one that you want. Those are going to be worth something. Inscribed Ultimatum. Oh, cool. Okay, so you get these, and then you can open them to do challenges. Double sacrifice. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Transfigured gems. Here are some of the transfigured gems. Frozen Legion of Rallying. Okay, we should probably look up what the old gems were. So Frozen Legion normally increase cooldown recovery rate. Okay, so that's different. Consumes cooldown per use per statue summoned. Okay, that's the same. Okay. 100% of physical damage converted to cold. That's the same. You cannot use this skill yourself. Your statues will use this skill for you. That's the same. Okay, so the difference is consumes multiple cooldown uses. And summon icy statues. Okay, so it's got increased cooldown recovery rate. Okay, that's the biggest thing. It's got increased cooldown recovery rate. So you can cast it more powerful. Okay. Interesting. Volcanic Fissure of Snaking. Fissure erupts 3 additional times. Slam the ground. Traveling outwards when it reaches the target location, erupts, dealing damage. After erupting, continues moving toward the enemies to cause further eruptions. Okay, Blade Storm of Uncertainty. Volcanic Fissure before okay, so the original one has 4 additional projectiles. This one just erupts 3 additional times. So you switch for less projectiles to more times. Oh, they reduced the attack speed, but and kept the damage the same. Interesting. Blade Storm of Uncertainty. Base duration, same. Damage with bleeding in blood stance is the same. Attack speed and Blood Blade Storm is the same. Maximum. Okay, so you get an extra Blade Storm. Up the attack damage by 30%. Sand Blast Storms, 30%. So basically, you get an extra Blade Storm. And more DPS. Okay, Raise Zombie of Falling, they covered that. Yeah, it does not require a corpse, so it falls and does explosions. That's going to be interesting. That might be worth it for some people, because then they can just make falling corpses explode on them. Flame Dash of Return. Oh, so you go like back and forth. Interesting. Okay. Flaming bolts rain down over the target. I think it increased the firestorms. Yeah, now it's 10 firestorms instead of 3. Large area, the bolt explodes. Okay, so this is 1 instead of 3. But the DPS is crazy. 1658 to 2048. How does that scale? That's crazy. That's like almost 5 times as much damage. It's almost 5 times as much damage. That's more damage too, actually. That's a significant buff. That's because at the top end it used to go from 361 to 541. Now it goes 551 to 826. Jeez. Blight of Contagion. They did that. They also did this one. Jeez, that's a lot of DPS too. Detonate Dead of Scavenging, yeah. Blade Trap of... Oh, these are green. Okay, Blade Trap of Great Swords. Throws a trap. Swings 2 copies of your equipped two-handed sword. Oh, okay. Interesting. Killing blows cause impales on enemies to reflect damage to surrounding enemies. Fires an additional 10 projectiles simultaneously on the first and final attacks. Huh. Three clones. Oh, that might be good. Blink arrow of prismatic clones. 3 clones which use elemental hit. Don't know. Maybe. Animate weapon of ranged arms. Animated lingering blades are bows. Oh, so change it up. Oh, they become bows. Animated weapons become bows? That's so weird. Okay. Ziggy D, did you post it yet? Yes. Okay, let's watch the Ziggy D Q&A. We'll get some more information about what's going on.
Giant jam-packed Q&A after a
yes.
session.
Yes.
We have here today Chris, Jonathan, and Mark. 3 for the price of 1 this time around. Just Chris. Welcome, folks.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Cheers. Excellent, folks. We're going to be moving through things in rough order that we saw things today during the reveal. So starting with Path of Exile 2 and then moving through some of the new Path of Exile 1 features. So get those questions in through Twitch chat and we'll sprinkle those in through each of those various sections. So first, let's talk about that new movement scheme that was revealed with the new mercenary class. So we have the new WASD movement.
All right, Path of Exile 2 stuff I'm not so interested in.
Time when moving between packs to be so you know it can be a bit off topic, but it's like the amount of engine
not so interested in.
It can happen. It can happen.
Especially for the mercenary, I feel it'd be great.
Okay, let's
like if there's a little like the little
versus the small monsters, and so that's
Okay.
why that particular skill I think is actually fine in that regard. So yeah, there's a little room here. I mean, it all makes something that can kind of
Tools to play with when designing bosses?
Yeah, I mean, generally, yes. I've had rants about this before. I love the object size. I like things pushing you around, and I like the
now the collision geometry for everything is actually modeled correctly to everything, even the stuff outside the gameplay parts of the combo, but like because multiple parts of it's.
And the short answer is no. But like spider from it, and the short answer is no. But like, I mean, how does that person weave or get through?
Yeah.
You know, but no, generally, like the game has a lot of horrific stuff in it, and as you know from what's going on in that mercenary demo, you know, we're not pulling our punches.
Yeah, okay, still on Path of
And
Exile
actually reveal
2.
fog or the mist, whatever the bugs.
Ah, okay, here we go.
Some elaborate decision that goes into it. It's just kind of like we feel like it's time for one or the other.
I mean, we definitely have discussions of like, oh, you know, we've done a couple of an area one, let's do an out of area one. Oh, we've done some out of area ones, let's do an area one. Like, you know, in this case, we were like, it just sort of felt good to have both things. So you know, yeah, it was good. But yeah, like honestly, we tried to just have a variety.
So it's kind of concept, at least that I use internally, which is what shape is the combat, and we want to try all the different shapes we can do, and we haven't run out of shapes yet.
This shape technically is whatever shape you want to, because you can run. Has undefined shape.
Alright.
I have to always look out for my co-op buddies. How does Affliction work in multiplayer?
So once you die, you can't go back in. Just worth noting. Technically, that's multiplayer or single player, but only the map owner can, or if they're not present, I believe it nominates someone else, but I'll make sure that's the case if not. Can actually reveal fog or the mist, whatever the bugs. And when you collect, so the expectation is the party members kind of follow them around, and the wisps that you collect, it's the same amount, so they're just a shared pool. Like
any player who collects wisps will go to the primary player.
Yeah.
So like there's effectively the map owner is the one in charge of the exploring.
Okay, cool.
But anyone can pick them up if you want to spread out a little bit like that. So, yeah, it works in multiplayer. Due to the nature of the rewards, just being based on the monsters' drops, they will scale with like party drops like normal. So there's no like, they just work as standard multiplayer drops work.
Right. And we get this new ascendancy system as a reward for this, which seems quite significant, especially seeing some of the specific bonuses there. How challenging is it to actually unlock these mods with ascendancies?
Yeah, this is what I want to know.
So you get 8 points per class. You get your first 2 points when you meet the NPCs, which occurs relatively early. I think we have the. I mean, it is slightly RNG based, and whether or not you find them, and but you can increase the chance of finding them by following the trails of wisps. They can.
Okay.
So the different colors have different things at the end of the trail, so you can kind of pick up which direction.
And each color associates to an NPC. So I think that you start around appearing around Act 2, and then the expectation is by Act 5, you've probably found each of them once.
Okay.
And when you meet them, you get your first 2 points, and then they'll give you a quest if you spec into that class to find more wisps or kill someone. So like real basic quests, all done within the forest.
Okay, so it's going to be worth it to do that in Act 2.
34 points, and then you have a quest to kill like a mini boss, and that'll give you your 5th and 6th, and then the final 2 points are from killing the final boss of the league, which is probably relatively difficult. Like that's a level 83 kind of
probably to get the first 2 points and then skip the rest until the end.
Pinnacle boss, but like just below it, kind of thing. So that will be hard. So you could argue the first 6 points, the first 2 points are very easy. First 6 easier than probably say Labyrinth.
So we're gonna want to look at the first 2 points of all of the
quite a lot harder.
Ascendancies.
Ascendancy 8, last 2 points.
And this is in parallel / addition to your existing ascendancy class and its progress. You have 2 classes here to clarify.
Yeah, and that last one that was revealed is like a little bit of everything. pretty cool. Those jobs. So the unique specters from the Breaker of Oaths, including bosses like the Hydra, is certainly a surprise. Can you have more than one Hydra Spectre or like an army of bosses?
You can. You can have up to your Spectre limit of Hydras, but they cannot be desecrated. So once you have it, once you have the item, you buy it from him. You can only Spectre it once. Once it dies, then you have to buy more of them. But yes, it will be hard to find them. You can trade. Yes, you can trade for them.
Oh.
I really wanted this whole I wanted you to be able to find the NPC and then be able to effectively buy something from them that could be worth multiple divines.
Yeah.
I'm like, a Hydra could be worth multiple divines. Like, let's see if we can do that.
So you can buy these and trade them even if you up that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So effectively, so there's a reason to look at the shop for all of the NPCs, regardless of whether or not you're that ascendancy class, because other people can.
Talk about the fragility.
Yes, well, it is worth noting the Hydra's health in particular is relatively low. So you do have to keep it alive.
There's a lot of stuff you can do to
Spectres in
scale up
general
life.
They're pretty interesting. There's a lot I've tried to go for where we've gone and tried to give stats that other builds wouldn't use. Like, there's one, for example, where one of its properties just says your owner, as in the player, has 5% more attack damage, or melee attack damage. I can't remember which of those two. And then if you get all your Spectres, you can get like 40% more attack damage. But now you're a melee build that's investing in plus Spectre limit, and there's some weird things you might be doing there. And then of course that means you need minion life, otherwise they're all just going to die. And there's hopefully some kind of weird, interesting builds that come out of this.
Yeah.
Unorthodox builds using Spectres that you normally wouldn't. There's a kind of, I don't know what they're called, but it's effectively Fire Fury and Hellrake, and they specifically, the Fire Fury one says becomes empowered if you also have a Hellrake Spectre, and the Hellrake Spectre is the same thing. So then you want to run two different ones, which again is also kind of abnormal, because normally when you do play a Spectre build, you stack a lot with the same thing. So it's promoting a bit of just different gameplay around that.
So there's something going on between the Fire Fury and the Hellrake. Then they have some backstory together. I guess
They're empowering each other. For sure.
They are. Fanfic authors take note.
Yeah, here we go.
So funny.
The charms for the Wildwood Primalist, they capture random parts of other Ascendancy nodes and allow you to create a new one in kind of like a build your own Ascendancy fashion. What sort of limitations are there? Can you just get like any power from any node?
You can't get anything. I can't remember exactly what you can and can't get, but there are some stuff that is like it's binary and ultra powerful, and like it's just too much power to give from a single node like that can have two modifiers on it. So you can't get everything, but you can get most things, and even in some cases where they are binary, we've made non-binary versions of that property where it's like can either be chance-based or percentage-based, like a portion of it. But they do stack as well, so like for example, you can get 3 sockets, and obviously you can get like, we showed say the Occultist Curse Explosion, like if you just want to go all in on the chance of that, you can try and get that under 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty rare, they're unmodifiable, but again tradable. And I'm expecting, again, going under the philosophy of I want you to be able to find these NPCs and occasionally find something worth a lot. I do want it to be that occasionally you find one and you get multiple divines.
God, it's going to be a crazy build league.
Yes, keep reiterating that, yes.
Yeah, there's some...
Yeah, the shops should be valuable, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. Are there any limitations to this Primalist shouting items at corpses thing? It's like, are people just going to be going around shouting at every corpse for extra loot?
Well, it's one of these interesting, and this one's been very controversial, I'll point out, internally.
Yeah.
See, for me, I really like it because it's a thing where if you're an efficient, let's think of it a few different ways. Firstly, if you're destroying corpses, it doesn't work, right? There's no body left to get loot from. So you can deal with spikers and or the porcupines and among other things. You have to have the corpse around, which means you have to be playing a build that doesn't destroy corpses, meaning of course you have to deal with the porcupine Goliaths. I don't know if you've heard that before, but whatever. And then the other thing to note is it actually rewards slower players more than faster players, because A, you have to war cry, which is cooldown based. Are you really going to wait around meticulously war crying on every single corpse, or are you just going to want to kill more monsters and run more maps? And so if you want to get the most out of your map, course, that's a way to do it. But if you want to get most out of your time, that is not the way to do it. So yes, you could like Warcry, you know, bind it to your left.
But you could have,
Warcry whenever it's available and get whatever loot you can get.
Yeah.
Opening
That's time efficient.
opening chests is a big
Yeah,
one.
that's the main use of that skill.
But it is worth noting, just to get to some specifics of how that works as well, it doesn't care about the monster's quantity and rarity. It does care about map quant and rarity.
Okay.
So a boss is just going to occasionally drop like an item, if that. You know, it doesn't like re-drop all its drops, so it's not like ultra powerful. Due to that, it's probably honestly going to yield a little bit more. Like it's more for like getting a little bit of extra currency than it is getting like unique items and rare items and stuff like that.
Maybe.
I'll ask the obvious question that you knew you'd get when you added a backpack inventory expansion. Do you think you'll give this to people outside of the Primalist?
Short answer, no. But I mean, look, we chuck these in, we experiment for 3 months, and we see. This was also the node of the second highest level of controversy internally. But we'll give it a go. We'll see what happens. But like, I do not see that thing returning outside of the Primalists after the league. If the league happens to go for, you know.
Controversial league design, it sounds like, internally. Oof.
Well, they're 3 months experiments, essentially.
Yeah, we like to try things.
I say controversy, it's fun. You put in a random place every single time. It's new exploration. It isn't a continuous from the previous years.
It feels slightly like the idea of Delve without the actual specific.
It isn't. It isn't really like Delve. It doesn't have the whole like big map.
Are the wisps tradable or collected as currency items at all?
No, I mean they're tradable to the vendors, but that's not trading. They're usable as currency for the vendors, but aside from that, no. They are, and between instants, they don't carry over. Because once you leave the wide, they're dispersed, so
And just clarifying, for people that missed this detail, you'll be able to use the regular Ascendancy class alongside the Wild Wind Ascendancy class. It's extra on top.
You will eventually get 8 points in both. Yes.
It's so crazy.
Can monsters attack from the Fog of War in Affliction, or only once they're fully revealed? Ooh, question.
You will not get you're both not going to be like given an advantage as a ranged character to shoot into it, and you will not be warned afterwards. So if you then go and activate a breach, there is like a portion of the breach monsters will be dusted as well, and thus their rewards and difficulty will also be increased.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, it overlaps
with all the other
any
mechanics.
area league, I believe,
Yeah.
as long
Okay.
as the monster gives loot and experience.
Okay.
We've got so much we always want to do, and just finding the resources to be able to get someone to fully reassess.
Yeah, they're going a little bit slow.
It can be challenging.
I might speed this up a little
It's
bit.
not just something you wanted to just slap back in as it was then. It sounds like it's changed a fair bit.
It's had a substantial amount of work done to it. Like, it is quite a lot there. There's a lot there.
And obviously, it's going to be very different to how it was given the Atlas passives as well, and how you can modify it and change it.
Yeah, this is the ultimatum.
Taking that into consideration as well is something that we didn't have to deal with before that we do now.
Why do you think that Ultimatum was so popular and so requested to return? It was like one thing asked about at ExileCon. Is there anything to like learn from that for future league designs?
Well, I think about it, and also why do I think I like it? I mean, the mod selection is fun. I like how it works in parties as well, and I like, for people who know my Aurabot addiction, I love playing at parties, where you get to vote on the mod and you go and pick the mod that no one wants, just because you know. Or you're an Aurabot and you pick that mod that causes your auras to apply to the enemies. So
Yeah.
then hopefully your teammate,
The double on is also very. I don't want to use the word addictive because that's a bad word you say.
Oh, I love that, and I think a lot of people resonate with that as well. Where when you've got the Divine Orbs on the line, or the Headhunter on the line, or like just whatever items on the line, it's like the thrill is just, you know, it gives you that adrenaline.
Yeah, you're like gambling, the little gambling thrill.
It's risk reward to put it another way, right? It's good risk reward.
Yeah.
I think it had like a unique pacing too, with like intense action, break, intense action, break.
Oh yeah, for sure. I like that as well a lot. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, ultimately the risk reward. Yeah, I think it was around the time there was a lot of there was a bit of like, how do we make this harder that went on, and it ended up just ranking the rare monsters up. Like there was just points where there were like 9 rare of those blood chieftains on your screen, and the problem with that, especially with like obviously now looking at rare modifiers, like the level of visual pollution that adds, and you can't even tell what's happening. Like there was a lot of going on in that league where there's just a massive crossfire of projectiles and just like a whole bunch of monsters, and like so we've gone with almost a more what we call expedition style balance, which is just like tone that down but make each monster individually more difficult and more meaningful. So it should be that it is less like more comprehensible in the moment as to what you're actually fighting and what's going to do. But that's mostly, I think, of what's gone on.
So Metamorph is getting removed as part of this with its unique rewards going to Ultimatum. Can you tell me a little bit about that decision, like to remove Metamorph?
There's a few things going on there, but the first is just the visual clarity of it again, going back to that. Like, you put these monsters together and then it just does this kind of like morphing thing. I mean, I played this a lot and it transforms into something and then I'm dead. I don't even know what's happening. What killed me? I actually don't know. And it is meant to be the case that obviously I know what monsters I'm putting in, and I'm like, I'm putting in this monster, this monster, this monster. I know these do the skills, and because this one's in the brain slot, it does this big AoE. But the reality is, like, that's way too much to try and know and remember, and like, there's hundreds of monsters with hundreds of skills going on there, and it's like, you can't really tell. And so when you do put it together, it's like, oh, this I like these. You put those in, and that's ultimately what you do as a player for that. And so you put in a monster, it spawns, and you maybe just insta die or you maybe not. And getting that right is just pretty impossible, I would say. Like, I love the mechanic in a nutshell of you get to put monsters together to create a new boss fight, but it just wasn't working.
Yeah, never my favorite league visually either. I just don't think it really looked that great. And there was actually one other one, I don't know if you want to talk about it, I can, but I think that actually was, surprisingly, Metamorph was like quite annoying from a maintenance perspective. Like, there was quite a lot, like every time we added a monster, we had to do stuff relating to Metamorph, and like also the way it was originally made,
interesting.
was a bit annoying. So there was certainly there were a lot of designers who were happy to see it gone as well.
Yeah.
Just maintenance stuff as well.
And we're careful before we remove content.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, for sure, but it's like, yeah, there was certainly a lot of factors there.
One other thing about it, I guess the meta in-game thing, where you put together 5 boss parts and do it in his lab, like, there was that sad thing because that area was a standalone area, it never got map mods, like, it felt like often the rewards and the difficulty were just underwhelming relative to doing them in the area. I mean, you're less likely to just get insta-killed in there at least. So in some ways it did it better, and that it was more controlled and telegraphed, but in the other sense it was just too easy, like the thing spawned and then just died with it.
Yeah.
The life wasn't high enough, no map mod damage. So it was just due for its removal, honestly.
Yeah, I certainly agree with a lot of issues.
I think a lot of people don't care. Most people didn't like Metamorph.
Worked a little bit more, but like I said, it just wasn't quite there. So something to play with in the future, maybe.
Yeah, oh, for sure. The idea is there is a sound idea there for sure that I'd like to see if we can play around with later and re-envision in some way. Hopefully.
You get the situation where in order to keep it, you can't really do all the work to rework it. If you do all that work, then it's all just bring
So this does raise a question you haven't had to deal with before, where you've removed a mechanic now that has a premium tab that people purchase. What is the plan for that?
So that tab, so due to Catalyst moving to Ultimatum and there being the inscribed Ultimatums, that tab is just immediately converted to an Ultimatum tab.
Oh,
so
cool.
The Catalyst will now store there, and
I've got an Ultimatum tab.
I think there's 60 slots for inscribed Ultimatums in there as well.
Nice.
So you don't need to buy a new one; it'll automatically transfer over.
Perfect. That's great. All right. We'll see if there's any other Ultimatum questions. With Metamorph out the game, will be another Master Hideout NPC to replace Tane?
Not currently, no.
Alright. Can Ultimatum be blocked on the other classic tree? So that doesn't appear.
Yes, it can. The same node that blocks Metamorph has been changed to a new node that blocks it.
Okay.
Alright, cool. We have a bunch of questions about transfigured gems. This is a big one, and chat also has a bunch of questions about it.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Transfigured gem system is kind of a big deal. Is this replacing Labyrinth enchantments, alternate qualities, and threshold jewels entirely?
Short answer, yes. It is replacing it. Valve Enchanting Gone, Boom Enchanting Gone, which I like in the sense that it reopens, because those are very old designs. I mean, sure, the Valve's Enchanting Gone newer, but it does free up a lot of design space to use in the future, and with a lot of them changed to quality and what the gems are doing themselves, the loss is ultimately inconsequential. So yeah, big on.
Deal with it. Alright. Are there multiple different transfigurations for each skill, or is there one for each? It seems like so many new gems, effectively.
So, I mean, we're still cranking them out. Like, we're not going to stop until there's a cutoff, effectively, and then we'll probably add them later if we still feel like we have to. But we're aiming for 1 per primary damaging skill minimum, but 2 maximum. So it's 1 to 2 per skill, but auras don't get them, heralds don't get them, utility stuff don't. We're really focusing on your main skills that you would primarily normally 6-link, and I know you can do higher hero builds.
Oh, interesting. So alternate quality. Oh, wow. So alt quality auras and stuff are going to be worth a lot too. Oh, I want to buy a bunch of those alt quality auras, so you guys got a chance.
It allows us to, like, so there's this thing where, like, cleave is cleave, and you could change cleave to something. You could change cleave, but now you're ruining just the kind of like simple thing it is at level 2. You get it at the game, you just want cleave stuff. So overcomplicating that to try and make it more interesting and new is honestly not the right answer, and it's kind of a thing that's happened to a lot of skills. So now with this alternate gem system, we get to take those ideas that people have of how we can be transformative with something like cleave, and we get to just add that skill gem without having to compromise that early game experience.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but it's hard to implement with so many skills in the game.
So how do you be transformative with something like cleave? I'm curious. How do you approach that?
Well, I don't know. Like, I can either talk about what we've actually done or talk about what we could do. I mean, something is you can. Well, actually, okay, let's go with what we have done. I think what we've done with it, and there's some details here I might be wrong on, or something that might have changed. But I think right now you have to be using a sword and an axe, so 2 different weapons, which is interesting. I believe it also scales. I think it generates rage and scales AOE based on rage, so it's kind of like pushing you to be a rage build. So it's worth noting, like, that might sound more niche, and that is the point, that the alternate gems or the transfigured gems are generally more niche. But the power opportunity is much higher. as a result of that. So they will scale way better into endgame, and it will save us the problem of just having this extreme like power curve of damage on cleave just to try and make it do an absurd amount of AoE again. So
Are there any other cleave?
I think we've just got the one right now. We experimented with a few others. I think there's one with Impale, but I think we've gone with that on Double Strike now, and like some stuff with Bleeding, but I just found something I did so many. There's the hundreds of these things, and we've gone through so many hundreds of iterations that we forgive my memory a little bit, but yeah, there's a lot going on there. For sure.
All right, so they're trying out different things. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
These new versions, well, technically the way it is worked now is just you can have a Val alternate cleave, and that just grants Val cleave, but it doesn't have the same mechanics, so it won't have the rage thing. Like technically the Val skill is a separate ability, and so yes, it grants that extra ability, but it doesn't have the same properties.
Gotcha, yeah. So are they always going to be just strictly bugs? That cleave version sounds better than regular cleave, or is it sometimes going to be just quite different?
It's strictly better if you embrace the niche. Yes. Right. If you are investing in rage and speccing into and using the sword and axe, then yes, of course, it's better.
I mean, you can't exactly say that the one that has zombies falling from the sky is strictly better, right? It's just a totally different. It's a totally different thing.
Pretty awesome.
It depends on your definition of better, of course. But I'm talking about like raw clear speed or raw, boss killing speed. Yes, from that measure, like especially with respect to the low level skills, that is often going to be the case if you embrace that build and that kind of off more niche build. But yes, again, there are plenty that are like hard to compare. Like the Frostbomb is a good example. Our clearing skill as opposed to a more utility focused skill, not having the cooldown, for example. So a lot of them fill different roles, and so they can't really be compared one to one. But yeah,
I mean, it's definitely going to shift the meta a lot. Like just because there's going to be there's a lot of new stuff to try there.
It's shifting it enough that if people were to ask me what I'm going to play, I actually genuinely have no idea. I honestly I'll find out in the last day probably.
I think it shifts the meta for the end game, but not for the campaign. I think people just stick with the normal stuff for the campaign.
It's a big maybe. Support gems. We thought about support gem base.
I think with support gems, you can just add more support gems. You don't worry about like fighting ones really.
So you may as well just add more. Alternate heralds. It can be done in some cases. Yes, it can be. But we'll see whether or not. It's just in those cases, it's like it goes from giving buff A to buff B. Like doing it with an aura, like you have to do something very wildly different to make it really transformative. Otherwise, you're going from just giving a certain stat to giving another stat, and that's not really what it's about.
What does this mean for heist in terms of losing one of those big rewards, but also like specific heists that were gem type heists or whatnot?
So the way, how that works now is that every single tile set just so the rewards are no longer bound to the, I should say the rewards from the display cases at the end. At the end of blueprints are no longer bound to the tile set of the base item type of the blueprint. So you can get kind of any of the rewards. You can get replicas from any of them. You can get alternate base types from any of them, or experimented base types, and you can get now currency. One thing we did do is buff the currency.
Oh, interesting.
Losing the gems removes some of the value from running heist.
Oh, so now all of the heist blueprints are going to be random. So it kind of makes farming heist for specific blueprints not as good. Well, it evens it out. It evens out all the blueprints.
So currency just to make it better. So when you do get to the end, you have less like miss cases where you just get like 2 chance orbs. So from completing a blueprint, that's just like completely insufficient. We have added new focusing, trying to make chase one, but it's pretty hard to reliably make chase uniques because the meta and the players kind of ultimately control what that is. But we've tried to add more powerful ones. We have rebalanced a number of replica uniques, and we've rebalanced a lot of experimented base types, including trying to emphasize that jewelry, the amulets and the rings, have some very, very powerful alternatives. Honestly, they're probably the best amulet you can get now is experimented base type amulet, but obviously it's pretty hard to find, and you have to craft it. Yes, I believe there's 5 new replica uniques. Yeah.
Interesting.
Nice. So it's safe to say heist to need to keep a close eye on them to make sure the rewards are up to par now after this removal.
I hope so for sure. I mean, me personally, I'm just excited about those experimented base type amulets and rings. Like before, we had the -1 prefix plus 1 suffix, and now you've got like -3 prefix plus 3 suffix and -3 suffix plus 3. The invert of that, and like it's like what kind of ring can you make when you've got 6 prefixes? Is that better? Is that worse?
That's crazy.
Reduce the amount of prefixes, but increase the potency of suffixes and stuff like that. So
that's interesting.
Like, sure about this?
Jonathan and I have seen the code to handle this stuff. We're both like, ooh, how do we
no, that's
good. I like when seeing Jones learn about these things for the first time. So good.
There's always so much going on that it is nearly impossible for everyone to know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That makes sense. So people are obviously pretty excited about the transfigured gems. They're we were quite exciting. It has a lot of effectively new skills for us to play with. But it does kind of raise the question about one of the more controversial decisions of this change is that, well, the Labyrinth, it has fairly different gameplay than most of Path of Exile. It's got like a lot of environmental hazards and traps and puzzles and a labyrinthian layout, and naturally that's not exactly super wild to be popular content for people to run. Not everyone wants to play that. So can you tell me about the decision to make Transfigured Gems specifically a reward for Labyrinth, especially since it looks like something that you'll want to run a lot to get more of them?
Well, a few things to talk about here. I mean, the Labyrinth is, you know, I understand. I understand how some people feel about it, people don't, but one thing is it is core content that you do run through the campaign, and you do to a set. And we wanted it to be that the Transfigured Gem system is accessible there, as opposed to, like, say, where alternate
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even though there was a kind of soft mandatory nature of having alternate qualities, it's like, well, you know, it was the same problem. I don't want to run heist, let's say, in a given league, or someone does and someone doesn't, and so you have to trade for them. And so for that case, it's the exact same thing, right? You can trade for these Transfigured Gems, of course. But we've done two things as well. So obviously when you get to the end of it, you put your gem in, you can pick from the one of 3 outcomes. It maintains its level and its quality as to what you put in, so the skill doesn't just become worse, at least in that regard. But sometimes there is an option that will transfer format directly into its Transfigured counterpart, which means if you don't want to, like, you know, take the gamble and just keep trying to pick random ones, you can wait for that and convert your, say, Firestorm directly into a Transfigured Firestorm. So that at least will make that a bit easier. But yeah, ultimately, I wanted it to be somewhere where it was introduced early enough, around level 30 is about right, so you're not, like, you know, waiting until endgame before you can get them. So the player can experience these through the campaign, get a feel for them, get used to them, and level them up, instead of getting to endgame and then completely changing their entire build. Like, it being early enough, and Labyrinth is around the point where that is, like, a good place to commit to that. And also, you're already doing it for your Ascendancy, so it's a good way to introduce the mechanic to those players, as opposed to just kind of putting it somewhere a little bit random and a little bit hidden. So that's the primary motivation.
Path of Exile has a lot of content that is going to vary depending on player taste. You know, some people like delve, some people don't, and that content has specific rewards, and those rewards are almost always tradable. And so in this case, if you want the gems, you can also trade for it. If you don't like that, yeah, definitely.
I'm interested in that idea of like players running into it as a course of their regular gameplay. Does that mean there's a pretty good likelihood then that each time you run like normal crawl and merciless labyrinth and whatnot for the first time, and say you only do them those once times, that you're going to actually get a pretty relevant gem reward upgrade each run?
The option is always there. So one of the crafts on the bench is always to convert it to a Transfigured Gem. So it's not like that one's random.
Yep.
Whether or not you'll get the one you exactly want obviously isn't reliable, but you will always get. So if you put in the common one, that's what there is. If you put in an int gem, you will get a Transfigured int gem back. So at least it's likely if you put in a spell, you'll get a spell. And if you don't want to take it, you can just be like, I don't want to take your gem back, and then try again next time. It doesn't like force you to. So you can put your primary skill in there, hoping for the best. And if you don't get it, you take it back and then just keep playing your build, or you run it again if you want, or you can wait till crawl and run it. And it is worth noting that, let's say, I know it's a bit later in the game, but the Uber Labyrinth has 2 crafts by default instead of 1 now. So when you get to the end, you get a few more.
Oh, okay.
So it's like one tactic could be knowing that the easiest labyrinth is the shortest and easiest to get through, obviously being lower level and shorter. You can, as like a high level player, could just go and run that a number of times just to try and get the right Transfigured Gem. But obviously you won't get a lot of the good crafts and a lot of the good rewards that also come from it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is worth
your most appropriate Transfigured Gem the fastest, like that is a
boy, I don't know, maybe lab running isn't, because the thing is I thought they were going to be doing all the different gems like this, but if they're not doing support skill gems, they're not doing auras, then and it's just main attack skills, I don't know if that's going to be worth running. Lab running might be less of a viable strategy for people to make currency. Yeah, which, you know, might make it so that more of those high quality, high value gem. I think it's going to be good. Let me change it. It's going to be good in the first probably week. I think after the first week, it's probably not going to be as good to be a lab runner, because everybody's going to have their build set up, so they're not going to be buying so many of those gems. And most of the time, people would be doing, you know, enchants. They'd be wanting belt enchants, helm enchants, that kind of thing. For crafting upgrades on their bases. So, I don't know. This is an interesting way to change things, but I'm not sure if it's quite. I'm just not sure if it's quite worth it. I have a mixed feeling about it. I mean, the rationale seems good. I'm just not sure if taking away enchants was the best idea. You know, why couldn't they have just added it with enchants? I'm not sure. Maybe that's just too much power. Yeah, I don't know. It would have been cool though.
So So it's not really meant to be ultra taxing and time consuming to try and get the one you want.
That sounds like, from a reward perspective, it's quite good for both lab runners and also people just doing it just the once as they go through. So I like the reward sounds of that. But are there any planned changes to running the labyrinth itself or making the labyrinth better in the future?
We went over that a lot, and as a simple, again, going back to, like, we think of it like this: we could have done that, or we could have added ultimatum. It's a resourcing problem. Not to say those are the two options, but what I'm saying is that it is very, what it needs is a lot of love, and we need the time to do it. So yes, we had a massive list of changes of things we wanted to do, and we just couldn't find the time to do it. So it is something I definitely would love to do later, for sure.
All right. Next league, guys. Good. Nice. Cool.
Sounds good. I was about to joke confirmed, but that's a bit dangerous.
That sounds weird. Will we get to see all the gems before launch?
It is our intention to start posting them, yes. As we're still churning through them, I think our plan is to start posting, like we'll do a series of posts. I could be wrong, the community team can correct me at some point, but I think it's to do a series of posts, and as we then make more, we'll just do more posts and just keep adding them until the last very possible moment.
It's worth mentioning with this kind of content because it's so parallel and because so many, like, every game is optional, there are so many possibilities. We just start 200 and then the ones that are finished get released and the other ones get released later or scrapped, and we don't know what the set is going to be currently, and we're just going to keep going to the last minute getting these in, and yeah, it should be interesting.
For standard players, what's happening to
Look for the last minute ones to be super OP.
I think the enchants remain. Old quality gems, I do believe, all of this will be in the patch notes after this, so I might just and stuff, but I do believe old quality gems just get converted to regular quality.
But the quality that is
Oh yeah, well that's it's worth noting that the quality on every, or almost every single gem, I think the word quality appears 314 times in the patch notes. There has been a substantial quality adjustment to all the skills.
Okay, so the alt quality gems.
So instead of like just a lot of gems being 20% increased damage and 10% increased attack speed, we're trying to really look at what is the skill doing. Like if it's something that is about duration, we instead add duration, but instead of doing 20% increased duration, we're adding like plus 1, 2 seconds, you know, like or plus 0.1 per quality kind of thing. So it's meant to be more multiplicative as opposed to increases, because there were skills where obviously the more increase you have on the passive tree, the worse the quality becomes, or vice versa. So yeah, but this is I think changed with a lot of the base skills as well, mind you. I think Discharge in particular is one where it's like it has increased area of effect per charge consumed, where that obviously could get into a massive amount of increased area of effect, which means if you're playing that build, then investing into like a 10% increased area of effect node on the tree is ultimately doing nothing. Like you're going from 200% increase to 110, like it kind of doesn't really matter. But now, so that's been changed to be multiplicative as well. So as we've gone through and done this quality, we've tried to do that on a lot more gems to make the gem more like about its base stats, and the passive tree is multiplying that as opposed to adding with those stats, which does yield a fairly large amount more power for a lot of these skills.
That sounds like a quality change. Sorry.
That's interesting. So all the alt quality gems that you've got now are going to be worth less. They're not. Yeah, they're not doing anything to them. Wow, the alt quality aura stuff. That's that's sad.
Run over time, but just a couple more questions before we finish up today.
So all the enchants are going to be worth a lot.
Typical for expansions come packaged with some pretty substantial changes to skill balance. Obviously, we're getting like a ton of new skills, so that's obviously affecting skill meta and whatnot. But the last few leagues haven't really had much in the way of skill balance, and we're finding like player expectations there. And is that something that you're continuing to like not do, or any thoughts about that?
Again, a lot of it comes down to honestly time, but for this one I really wanted to do something that wasn't just playing that almost cat and mouse game of like upskill A and then next league upskill B to be comparable, and then maybe go too far, so then you upskill A again, and if you don't do that, it's just nerf central, right? So where we do that for some extreme cases where we bring them down, I wanted to do something that really wasn't just, let's up B by 10% and something else by 10%, and again, noting I don't want to add
Melee might actually be good.
Especially early.
Something.
It just makes them more convoluted and confusing.
Melee something might be good.
So this was a system that allowed us to not play that game, but yet add thousands and thousands or millions of possible permutations, and we're going to be less hesitant, given time resources, less hesitant to change the balance and change alternate gems or add new ones. So it's given us a system that allows us to do future balance a lot without compromising kind of that core game and that new player experience at all.
It's also like, the quality changes are a pretty substantial balance change to existing skills.
That is a big, for sure. And a number of skills have changed. Like, what we've done is simplified some base skills because we have, and then what we've done is taken what they were doing. So an example of something we're trying to do, I don't actually know if we've done this because so maybe not. I know I probably shouldn't mention things like this, but for example, you get Ethereal Knives, and it's got all this talk about lingering blades going on. And yeah, most people who play the game in advance know what lingering blades are, but like a new player's not going to know that at all. So ideally we return EK to its former glory of what it was, and then we add an alternate gem that's really emphasizing that lingering blades mechanic and benefiting from that. And then we add another alternate, however many more alternate gems we want to. So it's allowing us to restore some of those, especially lower level gems, to their simplest forms as what they should be, and then also give them a rebalance. I think often it's resulting in them being a little bit stronger early, which is going to change a little bit. But I like the resultants a lot better when you're not being overwhelmed with this kind of almost unnecessary information early. And then you get this alternate gem that's really emphasizing that mechanic more
Later on. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense from a game play point of view, especially for new players.
Balance changes based on the fact that they feel they're playing the same kind of It's worth noting, Transfigured Gems came from me sitting down with Mark and saying, the players have an expectation for significant balance changes. The problem is we can't really do anything. We've had the point of like having to make skills more complicated. What can we do? And Mark suggested Transfigured Gems, which, as Jonathan Lowe would say, there was immediately 100 gold on the ground about what that design, right? So much cool stuff you can do, and absolutely is going to make every gold again.
Great. So conversely, talking about ascendancy changes, last League cheating underwent a pretty big overhaul, but its rework seemed to have few fans in the end. It's around 2% great for the rest of the league and softcore. Although it did gain some fans in hardcore, it seemed at least. What sort of goals do you have for like larger ascendancy changes like that, and do you feel like achieved it with the mark?
You know, 2%'s not bad, to be honest. It's still 10 times higher, 20 times higher than what it was. Or maybe even infinitely higher, because I think it was 0.0% for a while. Obviously rounding.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, I would say it didn't quite hit the mark, but like there's a fine line to treat when it comes to ascendancy balance. Like 2% is probably less of a failure than like, 25%. Because if everyone's playing it, it's ridiculous. And or we go back to like Slayer Cyclone era where there's 51% or something. I'm going off pro ninja numbers obviously, so high level players. But like that's within a kind of like era, a realm of acceptability. But yes, I would say like in an ideal world it would have been a little bit better than that. So, but geez, it's hard to get that perfectly right, like for sure. But yeah, and obviously if something does get used in hardcore and sees more use there, that is something we like to see, and that's cool. Whether or not it's intentional or accidental, generally it's just the players discovering what's best. Like we don't plan around that kind of thing, but yeah.
Is it something you're going to continue working on then? Like not cheating specifically, but also just in general, trying to get something right with those pre-existing ascendancies?
It'll every so often it's going to come up when we rebalance a given set of them, or maybe we do a like wide sweeping numerical changes, or maybe we take 2 and completely redesign them, or take 1 and redesign it. But again, it's all at 100 to 200 between there of transfigured gems to make. It's the same people doing those things, so we just have to make those choices as to what we want to do. And maybe there is a better metagame thing we could be doing, but eventually we're going to circle back to them and we're going to rebalance them or remake them. Yeah, and you did have 3 new ascendancies. Yeah, technically, yes, there are.
Yeah.
Hey, lads, it was a pleasure talking to you all. Thank you, Chris.
All right, cool. All right, interesting. So, what does this mean for us? What does this mean for what I was thinking about building? I think this means that Cold Dot is better in the end game because you're not relying so much on one skill, and all the alternate quality gems getting buffed, or all the gems getting buffed like this, probably means that using 3 skills to do damage is gonna be more powerful than 1 skill. Maybe. I'm not sure if that's the right way to think about it or not, but I guess we're gonna see in the patch notes. So let's move over to that portion of the show for today. Okay, it's a big one. Affliction Challenge League. Please, yeah, fresh start. New content. Ultimatum. 4 new divination cards, 2 of which were supporters and 2 for event winners. We've seen 2 already. I've seen 2 already. But I'm sure we'll review more of them. Following uniques have been added to the core drop pool. Ayana's Bite, Ayoka's Gaze, Bound Fate, Dead Reckoning, Defiance of Destiny. So these are all the ones from Ancestor League. Unique item, 16 unique items. Good, more base expansion types. Okay. Added 633 more foiled unique items. Okay, the Voidborn Reliquary is even less standard. Ranger and Scion release audio dial. Okay, that's interesting. Improve the sound art. Ultimatum core game. There are 10 rounds by default. Good to know. Chance to be teleported to the Trial Master area for 10th round in areas with level 81 or higher, rather than this being guaranteed. Okay, so the 81 or higher is going to be better to do the ultimatums. 4 tier, added an additional tier of difficulty. Monsters don't drop loot other than the Trial Master, but they still grant XP. Okay, so it's not going to be... Ultimatum's not going to be for monster loot. Painted Catalyst, good. Vol aspects. New unique jewel instead of the Trial of Ordeal. So there is a new unique jewel that you get from combining Vol aspects. Okay, the Tower of Ordeals unique engraved ultimatum map can no longer be opened in the map device. Oh, okay. So these ultimatum aspects usually used to open to Tower of Ordeals, but now they don't. So those are all gone. Get rid of those while you can. You can get vendor inscribed ultimatums for a new inscribed ultimatum. Okay. Round count display. Here can now offer map missions to complete ultimatums. That's nice. Okay. Catalysts no longer offered as ritual rewards. Oh, interesting. Or delirium rewards. Oh, so they're really pushing people. Cannot get you. They're pushing people to ultimatum for catalysts. Metamorph rewards from heist that have been replaced with ultimatum rewards. Heist, expedition, betrayal, delirium, legion. So you can still get them from legion and eldritch ultras. Okay, interesting. Metamorph to replace with challenging or delirium orbs. Okay. So basically everything is changing over from delirium to ultimatum. Expedition remnant. Modifiers and expeditions. Yep, okay. And so expeditions. Heist contracts. Oh, okay. So basically, expedition, they removed altogether the delirium, or the metamorph. So, morphing incubators are going to be changed to challenging incubators. So buy a bunch of those. I'm going to make a list here. Sometimes I play in standard, but not often. Morphing incubators. Get a bunch of morphing incubators. Okay, metamorph scarabs are replaced with ultimatum scarabs. Each one guarantees an ultimatum encounter. High tier gets increased experience from monsters or additional rewards. Cool. Those scarabs, metamorph scarabs. A bunch of those. Metamorph replaced ultimatum. Added a new ultimatum cluster which contains basically ultimatum notable passive. Notable passive provides your maps with 15% chance. Ultimatum encounter, well, 3 small passives each provide your maps with 5% chance. So increased chance for encounters. Get a new ultimatum cluster which stands your ground. Notable passives, 7 small passives. Increased monsters. And your maps have 5% chance. Or your ultimatum monsters and maps grant 10% increased experience. So they're trying to push ultimatum as an experience gainer. Yourself worthy. Cause ultimatum modifiers is a tier higher. Oh, that's nice. Have 25% chance to be duplicated. Ooh, that's gonna be worth it. Ultimatum encounters cause them rewards so you completed an additional round. That's gonna be a very good notable passive. Contains wager, okay, the small and protect the altar notable passives. The entry. Okay, the entry small passive provides a map with a 5% chance to, okay. Ruinous wager. Okay, so these 3 are on this cluster. Right, ultimatum monsters in your map supply a rune with their special abilities. Deal 50% light and cause ultimate encounters to fail on reaching 7 rune. I'm not sure what that means. The Conqueror Stones. 100% increased chance to require you to stand in the stone circles with these types of encounters, having 25% increased radius. The small passive prior causes that circles have increased radius, so you have increased chance area to move around. Survive the Assault notable passive causes the ultimatum encounters in your map to have 100% increased chance to only require you to survive. These types of encounters having 20% reduced duration. Oh, the small passive prior causes ultimatum encounters in your maps only require you to survive to have 10% reduced duration. Oh, this will be good because then you can just like, you win the encounter, you just have to live, so you can have just a super tanky character. You can just have a super tanky character. That's nice. Slaughter them all to have 100% increased chance to require you to defeat waves of enemies. Okay, so you can choose. Do you want to just survive or defeat the enemies? Killing 20% reduced number of enemies. Okay, so, but you don't have to kill as many. Protect the altar, cause the 100% chance to increase require you to protect the altar, and the ultimatum altar in your maps have 50% increased life. The small passive prior causes, so protect the altar and give the altar some more life. Ultimatum cluster contains these. Increasing chance to be inscribed ultimatums. 3 additional rounds. That's going to be crazy. The ultimatums in your map have 50% increased chance to reward unique items. That might be worth it. Chance to be unique items. Not sure. Worthy of present notable passive cause inscribed ultimatum increased chance to reward currency. That's probably the where people are going to go. Worthy of failure causes chance to rare divination cards. Maybe, but ultimatum cluster, which is 30% chance final round to include a boss. Okay, the ethics review. Okay, Shepherd of Souls no longer causes other Val skills to gain 50% of the consumed souls when you use a Val skill, and no longer causes non-Val skills. Causes non-Val area skills to have 80% less soul cost. And non-aura skills to have 100% increased soul cost. Interesting. Accelerating and unstable catalysts are going to be maintained. From catalyst sources outside. Okay, ultimatum encounters. So you can get them from different places. Metamorph stats tab trade. It changed. Okay. Metamorph removed. Oh, cool. So all those compasses. Probably going to be worth it. Not sure what that is. The Awakened Transformation Divination card is going to be found in Gardens. Okay. Other league changes. When Delirium Fog has ceased its movement due to players engaging in other league content, walking out of the mist will no longer cause the Delirium Fog to dissipate. Oh, okay. Reduce the drop rate of Forbidden Tomes. Yes, okay. Reduce the drop rate of Hour of Divinity and the Gilded Chalice Unique Relics. So they kind of nerfed a little bit. But not all they did is reduce the rate. How much, though, it doesn't really say. Maybe they'll be worth a bunch of money. Interesting. It doesn't seem like they really did anything. Just reduce the drop rate of Forbidden Tomes. Huh. I mean, if the Forbidden Tomes cost 10 Divine to get, or 1 Divine per Forbidden Tome, maybe that's worth it. Or even 100 Chaos, probably. Yeah, That makes it a bit more balanced, maybe? I'm not sure. This probably needed to be done, but yeah. Maps that are back. Ashen Wood is good. Burial Chambers is good. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Alleyways, remove cells, Cold River. Geode. Information. Okay, nothing crazy. Thank God they're getting cells out. Map tiers shuffled. Da 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 da. The Demon and Wrath can now be in the crater map. Master can now be found in the fields map. Okay. This is the big change. Okay, they kind of went through all of this before. Okay, Grand Spectrum unique jewels no longer drop from Rosario's treasure chest at the end of the labyrinth. They can now drop from labyrinth troves and Emperor's vaults found throughout the Merciless. Okay, so they don't drop at the end. Grand Spectrum jewels now drop from the labyrinth chests. Okay. Prime and secondary grading lenses can no longer be obtained. Existing items will be deleted. Oh, deleted. Okay, tainted blessings can no longer be tainted, and they will be deleted. The following divination cards have been temporarily disabled. Okay. All of these have been disabled. No more enchants. Okay, Grand Spectrum Imperial Delirium Orbs can no longer be obtained. Always award an offering to the goddess. Mysterious incubators can no longer award enchanted items. Enchanted incubators can no longer drop. And the existing ones always drop an offering to the goddess. Okay, labyrinth rewards can no longer be obtained from other league content. Logbook remnants. Chance to drop ritual splinters instead. Torahs. Chest of quality gems. Crap stash of gems. There's the colors of number of or links between sockets on an item 50 times. Greatest and relative socket colors. Oh, that's interesting. Grand Heist rewards, all the same. Reward chests and Grand Heist still influenced by a blueprint area. Thief's Trinket slot is now unlocked when you first pick up a Thief's Trinket on that character rather than the underbelly. Oh, that's nice. So you can just buy a Thief's Trinket and then do it. Currencies no longer offered. Okay. Increased stack size of currency. Endless Misery. Souls Spirit Guards. Okay. Anima Stone. Unique jewel no longer has +1 to unique. Existing versions of this item aren't affected by the change. Column build should now be less dependent on this jewel to be effective and instead have transfigured skill gems. Oh, Anima Stone is going to be worth a lot of money. Maybe. Doesn't say what it's going to change into. Oh, just going to be the not +1. Ah, okay. Old Anima Stones. Maybe. Golemancers are not... But, you know, who knows after this. Many experimental type bases and replica uniques will also receive changes. Balance and unique balance sections respectively. Transfigured gems are now detailed here. Chances made to skill gems result of transfigured gems being detailed are added below. Okay, so heist might be good. Not going to get gems from it. But the currency is higher, so... maybe? Maybe. Not sure. It's going to really depend. People are going to have to see. Okay, so here are all all the different skill things. Okay, skill changes. Absolution, quality. Never did absolution. Alchemist mark. Change is minions have increased cooldown. Okay, so absolution increased cooldown instead of increased damage. Increased effective mark instead of increased area of effect. That's nice. Ambush. Increased critical strike chance instead of increased cooldown. Ancestral Cry. And that's actually pretty big. Is this base crit strike chance? That's kind of huge. Ancestral Cry. Ooh. 40%. Increase CDR. Oh. Wait, what about Enduring Cry? Enduring Cry. 40% increase cooldown recovery rate. Huh? Instead of 20% increased skill effect duration. Increase cooldown. Oh, no. That's basically they just took the enchantment from the helm and put it on the gem. And it's an increase, not a more. So I think still can't do that with, yeah, without the tattoos. Okay, let's... always looking for the war cries. Okay, Ancestral War Chief now provides increased activation range. Ooh, that's kind of a hit. Instead of totem damage. Yeah, the totems these two got nerfed. Oh, no, maybe not. Oh, because it's only totem damage. It's only totem damage. Okay. So no, actually, these are buffs. Yeah, okay. Those are buff. No longer has increased minion maximum life. Okay. This is a very different change. Has 0% more maximum minion life and more minion damage at level 1. Both scaling up to 38% at 20. Okay. So it automatically gains 38% more minion life. Oh, it's a more multiplier, not... Okay, so that's about the same. Basically, they just changed these two lines into this one line. It's probably about the same. Roughly 11% more base life inherently. Okay. Okay, so the animated guardians are a little bit more tanky. That's nice. That's nice. Animate weapon. Arc now has base critical strike chance of 6. It no longer has 10% chance. 50% more damage with hits and ailments for each remaining chain at all gem level. Ooh, Arc might be good. Ooh, that's a big buff to arc. A 15% more multiplier. Because you can pump up percentage, like chain chances. Oh, that might be really good. For hits and ailments. Quality now causes the chain to increase 0 to 1 times. So you can just add a 15% more multiplier on damage with the quality. Plus the other chaining. Like if you can chain it 5 times, that's a lot. That's a lot more damage with arc. Arc might be good. Okay, and cloak. Increased buff effect instead of duration. Okay. Quality down causes... Okay, this is 1. Quality down... 10% more damage with hits against the branded enemy instead of providing 10% increased cast speed. More damage to Armageddon brand? Okay. But that's the hits most people use this for. Not for the hits, but for the ignite. Quality now causes skill to fire. Okay, ball of lightning. Okay, Bane now causes Apply Curse to have 0 to 20% increased effect. Okay, so that's a buff. That's a 50% buff to Bane. Bane was already pretty good. It's now better. Okay. Barrage. This is going to be a good league to get in on. It looks like they buffed all the skills. So, quality now increases skill to fire when projectile instead of increased projectile damage. That's kind of cool. So it looks like all the cries, they just changed it to cooldown recovery rate. Bear Trap, increased duration. Nice. Berserk, quality now provides increased cooldown recovery rate. Okay. Yeah, everybody was using that alt quality anyways. Blade Blast no longer detonates Blade Vortex blades and no longer has 80% more area of effect per Blade Vortex blade detonated. Now provides you can't do Blade Vortex blades? Oh. Okay. The Blade Blast does not interact with Blade Vortex anymore. Blade Flurry now provides more damage with its elements for each stage instead of increased attack speed. Ooh. I think it's 3 stages, so that's a 15% more damage. That's nice. Blade Trap. Blade Vortex no longer has increased critical strike chance for each blade. It now deals 3 to 5 damage at gem level 1, scaling up to... Oh, so they made the damage a little bit more, and then increased hit rate for each blade. Oh, okay. Oh, that might be a buff. Damage buff. Blade Fall no longer leaves 50% freely if you cast the spell yourself. It also no longer has 100% increased critical strike chance. 6% damage per volley or 20% reduced critical strike chance per volley. It no longer has the critical tag. Ooh, that's kind of a nerf. That's kind of a nerf. Blade Storm. Okay. Blast Rain. Quality now causes skill to fire +1 arrow. Blazing Salvo. Bigger radius instead of AoE. Blight. Quality now provides 80 seconds base duration instead of increased AoE. Okay, that's better. Blink Arrow no longer has minions deal damage. Quality now provides cooldown recovery rate instead of this attack that starts to increase projectile speed. That's nice. That's nice for movement skills. Okay. So they made it blink arrow clones. Instead of doing this, they did this. It's probably overall, just with the cooldown recovery rate, it's probably a better skill, because most people just use this for movement skill. So body swap quality down causes the skill. Base fire damage. That's nice. Okay. Increased effective offering. Good. Bone shatter. Quality does 1% more damage for trauma instead of increase. Ooh, bone shatter got a big buff. Ooh, that's a nice buff. Yes. Brand recall. Increase cooldown recovery rate. Burning arrow. More damage with ignite. That's good. People are using it for ignites. Caustic arrow, bigger radius. That's a nice buff. Chain hook causes you to gain 0 to 1 rage if the skill hits any enemies instead of okay. So inherently some rage gain there. Charge dash. Cleave meters. Radius per nearby enemy up to 1 meter instead of increased attack speed. Okay. Cobra Lash changed from crit strike to dot. Damage over time. Or no. To hit damage. So it's not a damage over time. Crit damage over time. Okay. Cold Snap no longer has increased effective chill. Quality now adds more effective chill. Oh, so they just changed it from here to here, so that's a nerf. Oof. That is a big nerf for Cold Snap. Because you have to spend money to get this instead of it just automatically having it. Quality now causes the skill to deal 10% more damage with explosive instead of providing 10% increased area of effect. Maybe. Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Contagion, increased meters. Yeah, okay. Conversion trap. Crackling lance for intensity instead of 10% chance to shock. Creeping frost. 2 meters of radius instead of AoE. So creeping frost, same pretty much. Cremation. Quality now causes skill projectiles 10% faster instead of increased fire damage. Ooh, that's a nerf. That's a nerf. Cyclone no longer has first it deals 50% less damage. Technical channeling, lose 1 stage every 3 seconds while not channeling. It now has 10% increased AoE per 1 meter additional melee strike range at all gem levels. So it doesn't do less damage. It doesn't do less damage. So it's kind of a buff for Cyclone. Interesting. But not a big one. Dark Pack. Is a bit of a buff for quality. Decoy Totem. Okay, Destructive Link now provides seconds of duration. Okay, so the links probably they just increase the duration instead of increase skill effect duration. Yeah. Detonate Dead. Quality now causes skill to have increased chance to detonate an additional corpse instead of providing increased cast speed. Probably a buff. Okay, AoE per consumed at all gem levels. So that's a bit of a nerf. For discharge. Fine Iron now has a maximum of 10 stages. Beam now deals 240% damage per stage after the first. Ooh, that's a big buff. Oh! Whoa! 20% chance to deal double damage to bleeding enemies? Oh, that's a big buff. Huge buff. Dual Strike no longer has increased critical strike chance. Now 60% more damage with itching ailments against enemies that are on full life. Okay. Now it's more damage with those enemies that are on full life. So you can do... It's a more. That's a more. So you can do up to 90% more damage with Dual Strike that are hits on full life instead of increased crit strike chance. It's a 90% more multiplier. That's a 90% more multiplier. That's almost like a double damage in and of itself. Interesting. Earthquake, 30% more damage to ailments. Okay, it's a more damage instead of increased. That's a buff. Earth Shatter creates an additional fissure. Elemental hit, more damage per elemental ailment on enemy. So it's changing to a 15% more instead of a 20% increase if you have all the elemental ailments on the enemy. Okay. Elemental weakness, 20% increased duration of elemental ailments on enemies. Ooh, that's nice. Not sure if that's a buff or not. Okay. During Kai cooldown, Energy Blade. Quality now causes a buff to grant more maximum energy shield. Okay, that's kind of cool. Because it scales off its own energy shield. So 5% more maximum energy shield. That's interesting. That's a really interesting effect. Ensnaring Arrow. Quality now provides increased debuff effect. Good. Sense Drain. Generate debuff damages life. That's a little bit of a nerf. Quality increases instead of providing increased projectile speed. That's a buff. Sanguinate. Explosive Arrow. Not sure. I'm not sure people were using... I think they were using Explosive Arrow for Ignite, though. Explosive Concoction. Now, reduce flash charges used instead of increase AoE. Well, that's not going to help Explosive Concoction at all. Explosive Trap. I have Winter projectiles. 20% increased cold damage. Not sure. Fire Trap. Quality now provides any trap trigger area of effect. That's a nerf. Wow, that's a... Yeah, that's a 20% nerf to... Righteous Fire. Fireball. With a base radius of 9 meters. Came to 1.4. Quality now gives you more radius. Firestorm, more radius instead of damage. So that's a nerf. Maximum stages instead of damage. That's a nerf. Probably. I'm not sure about what it says about the per stage thing. Flame Dash now have modifiers to spell damage applied to the skill's damage over time effect. Oh, that's a buff. Flame Dash got better. That's cool. Flame Links, more duration. Flame Surge. Flame Surge got a buff. Ooh, 20% more damage with hits against burning enemies. That's nice. Flame Wall. That's kind of a buff. Flamethrower Trap. Flammability now causes ignite on cursed enemies to have increased duration. Okay, so it's a double duration with flammability. That's a buff. Flesh Offering. It doubled the frenzy charges you can gain with Flicker Strike. That's nice. That's a buff. Freezing Pulse got nerfed. Okay. Frenzy. % more attack speed. Oh, 2% more damage and speed for Frenzy Charge instead of just speed. Not sure if that's a nerf or a buff. I'd have to do the math on that. Frostbite Blades. Frost Blades got buffed. Frost Bomb. The debuff no longer causes 75% reduced energy shield regeneration rate. Ooh, Frost Bomb nerf. Big nerf. Big nerf. Ooh. Big nerf. Yeah, a lot of this is just, yeah, cooldown recovery rate, cooldown recovery rate, cooldown recovery rate. Travel distance. Yeah, this is a bit of a nerf. That's a bit of a nerf. Believe it or not, this is actually a bit of a nerf. Because, yeah, the cooldown recovery rate you would rather have over the summoned warriors. Glacial Cascade causes final to do more damage instead of providing increased damage. That's a buff. That's a buff. It seems like they buffed a lot of the melee skills. Ground Slam, that's big buff. Wow. But it's quality, so it doesn't matter really in the beginning. Okay, I'm gonna kind of skip over all these quality ones. Yeah, Herald of Ice got nerfed. Herald of Ash. Nerfed, okay. Holy flame totem quality. Yeah, so I'm just gonna read the ones that actually like to have the actual changes, not just the quality. Okay, Ice Nova no longer has 20% less area of effect when cast on Frostbolt or adds cold damage. It also has no longer expand from 2 Frostbolt. Now deals more damage at gem level 1. A bit of a buff to damage and a big effectiveness of added cold damage. Bit of a nerf. Quality kinetic bolt no longer has increased AoE. A bit of a nerf. Bolt quality. So many alt quality. Mirror arrow no longer has minions deal. Yeah, we checked that already. One strike. Penance brand has been significantly simplified. No longer spreads energy to nearby enemies, causing regular pulses. No longer does this thing. Instead, it remains attached to the enemy until it reaches maximum energy. Then it expires immediately once the explosion occurs. It no longer grants damage per radius for energy, and now deals a base damage at level 1, which is huge. A lot. Jeez. Penance brand. Holy cow. What? This seems really amazing. Penance brand seems really amazing. Wow. Okay. Perforate no longer creates 2 additional spikes if you chain. It now deals 100%, 55% of base attack damage. Okay, so they upped it by an additional 30%. Up to 50%. Okay. Qualities. Enemies no longer attack enemies with an area of effect slam. They now only attack enemies with melee attack. Okay, interesting. Righteous Fire. No longer deals base fire damage. Now deals 70% of maximum life and energy shield as base fire damage. Oh, and quality got nerfed. 70% of your maximum life and energy shield as base fire damage per second. So they reduced the base damage and increased it based on your life. So that's a nerf through the campaign. It'll probably still be good in endgame, but I don't think you'll be able to play it in the campaign, because without that base fire damage, it's probably not worth it. Not sure. Shattering Steel no longer consumes steel shards or grants steel ward or has any of its steel ward stats. No longer has base duration is 5 seconds. If you have no steel shards, only fires 1 projectile, or projectiles deal 50% more damage with hits per steel shard consumed at the start of the movement. Lowering this burn. So they just got rid of all of this from Shattering Steel. I don't get it. So they didn't replace with anything? Okay. Spark no longer has increased speed. Okay. Splitting steel no longer consumes steel shards. Yeah, okay. So basically, okay, so splitting steel has a 40% chance to impale enemies on hit. Nerf. Attack speed multiplier has an attack speed multiplier of 90% of base. Probably a nerf also. So splitting steel got nerfed. Interesting. Maybe, because I'm not sure exactly what effect this will have. Okay. Storm Call doesn't do this. Storm Blast Mine no longer has 20% chance to shock enemies. Now deals 3 to 8, so a bit of a buff for the damage. Carrying Golem. Ooh, that's a big nerf. Doesn't this... So what did they just nerf all the golems? Okay. Or is it just... Okay, I'm confused. I see. So this was just that minion life. So it's not nerfed. They're just changing it to not even say that. Okay. Vortex. Oh. Cold Dot Witch got nerfed. Oh, that's a hard one. That's a hardcore nerf. Wow. Okay. Cold Dot. That's yeah. They nerfed all the Cold Dot skills. And they buffed the fire ones. Most of the fire ones. Wave of Conviction. Okay, that's fine. Oh my goodness. So, Vortex. What was it? It was Vortex. Creeping Frost. Creeping Frost, they didn't really do anything. And Cold Snap. Yeah, they nerfed the effect of chill and just put it on the quality instead. Yeah. Okay. Instead, we got no changes to rolling magma. Oh no, wait. It's the Vol gem, okay. magma? Yeah, not really. Just a quality change. And then Wave of Conviction didn't really change. And let's check out, I think Armageddon Brand didn't really change at all. So they nerfed all the cold skills. They nerfed that vortex nerf of the making it not instant is, that's rough. That's rough. I guess they just didn't like that. Okay. I'm also thinking of going Penance Brand. Because this... Yeah, this base damage is really good. I'll have to check out some more of the numbers. But it's possible to do that now, maybe. Oh, gosh. Upended my whole plan again. Man, okay. Vol, they just changed all the quality things. Arc might be a really good one too. Well, Fireball they changed a bit. Ball Spark, yeah, okay, so they just changed the same things. Support gems. Okay, so they just changed the qualities for the supports. That's nice. Okay, so they just made all the best alt qualities on the supports. Yeah. Basically, it looks like. Ooh. Culling Strike got a nerf. That's a big nerf. Yeah, damage. A lot of the damage got nerfed. Okay, calling damage for frenzy charge instead of increased damage with hits against frozen enemies. That's kind of a nerf. Yeah, because you're never gonna get 10. Okay. Okay, ascendancy changes. The Hinokora Death Chieftain Ascendancy now causes enemies, you, or your totems to kill a 5% chance. To have a 5% chance to exploding. Oh, so they made your totems also can do that. Okay. Passive tree mastery stats that previously granted increased accuracy against marked enemies, unique enemies, or nearby enemies now instead grant more accuracy. Oh. Interesting. Speaker of the Dead, key players can now touch up to 20 nearby. Okay, they nerfed. Hard nerf on ghosts. Nerfed. No, that's a big nerf on ghosts. Killing map boss before Maven King no longer causes her to leave without summoning additional bosses. Okay, so that's nice. That's a bit of a buff. Ash of the Stars no longer increased reservation. Ooh, they nerfed Ashes. Okay. Heat Shiver, yeah. 30% cold damage instead of 100. Hard nerf. Yep, I knew that. Everyone knew that was gonna happen. Nerf replica Dragon Fangs Flight. Calm Spirit unique gloves have regenerate. Previously, oh, they nerfed Calm Spirit too. Fire damage taken per second while flame touched on Annihilation's approach. Unique boots were a bit too high for a unique obtained through killing an uber pinnacle boss. 6,000 fire damage while flame touched. Previously 10,000. Okay, so they buffed the boots. These boots. Attacks with the ephemeral average unique sort of now added a maximum light damage equal to 20% of player maximum energy shield. It can no longer scale off of a minion's maximum energy shield. Oh, okay. Must have been something that people were doing with what was that? Animate Guardian, something like that. As impatient, you lose all frenzy energy charge when you move, or causes your maximum endurance to be equal to your maximum while stationary. It now has count as having maximum number of endurance charges. I don't get it. Oh, that's a nerf. That's a nerf to those Relicash boots, because you used to actually have the frenzy charges, so you could get the benefits of the charge itself as well. They took that away, so now your spells and skills will act as though you have that many frenzy charges, but you don't get the actual charges themselves. So that's a nerf. I don't know how big that is. Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's probably pretty significant. Replica Mistwall now has you are at maximum chance to block spell damage if you have not blocked recently. Okay, that's a buff, I think. Maybe not. Maybe that's a nerf. Replica Perfect Form has been reworked. No longer provides increased dexterity, or maximum life, or hollow palm technique, or flesh and stone. It now provides Versatile Combatant and has a 20% chance to block attack damage. This does not affect existing items. Versatile Combatant, what is that? %, maximum chance. Wait. So provides you with 20%, but then moves down the maximum? And then gives you a 2% chance to block spell damage for each 1 chance to block attack damage. This seems like a nerf. That seems like a big nerf. Yeah. Replica Bitter Dream Unique Scepter now causes socketed gems to be supported by 15%. Okay. That's cool. Bitter Dream got buffed. Replica Orb Oro Sacrifice Unique Sword and Orlone has unleashes life and instead provides Calling Strike against frozen enemies. This changes. I'm not sure. All those people who spent all that time getting Hinakora's locks So sad. Wah, wah, wah. Maven releases all boss at one can again roll on Maven's invitations. Oh, nice. The following experimented base types can no longer be obtained: Maltreatment Axe, Prime Cleaver, Hedron Bow, Shadow Fangs, Hollow Point Daggers. Ooh, okay. Those are... I think those are the ones that everybody was using. Yeah. Ooh, that's a big change. That is a big change. Okay. Flicker Flame Blade. Flare Mace. Oh, interesting. All of these, especially the Hollow Point Daggers, are probably going to be worth quite a bit in yeah. Maybe. Might be worth it to get these. At least one of each. A couple of them. Especially the Hollow Point Daggers. Those are, yeah. This Probation Axe has plus 15 to maximum rage. Nice. Psychotic Axe has plus 20 to maximum rage. Yay! Okay. Wait a minute. Hedron Bow. Hedron Bow. Why are they changing? I'm so confused. This is can no longer be obtained. But then they changed the implicit. Damn, why? What? I'm so confused. It looks like they buffed everything. Okay, so they buffed all of these. They removed these, and they buffed all of these. Trying to get people to still be interested in Heist. Okay. Spirit League mods are Torment, Anarchy, Ambush, Beyond, Blight, Expedition, and Ultimatum. This might be worth it. Ambush is probably going to be the one people use the most. And essences are going to be pricey, so I might do that for my currency league. Beginning league currency. Bring the create button from character select now displays how many character slots are currently in use. You can now shift click faded items in your main inventory, remove them from the trade and sell windows. Shift click currency items in your main inventory to only sell or trade a partial stack. Okay. Press control, click on NPCs in the campaign that you can sell items. Now brings up the sell item. Oh, nice. Okay, that's gonna be nice. Trade divination cards interface. Okay. Highlighting basic tool sockets when they're searched for in the passive skill tree. Okay. Added a close button to the betrayal investigation board. Nice. All right. Spell cascade. Projectile skills, making less damage. Bug minions will take no damage. Fissure, that's funny. Mage Blood. Those other players' flask effects applied to you through Soul Link to be infinite. Huh. I did not know that. Arc was not able to chain targets previously hit. It cannot chain. It still cannot chain to a target immediately after chaining from it. Okay. Yeah, that's do not support Ray Spectre. Okay. Takes above or trigger actions looking for something in targets, which could pick things didn't have a line of sight to. Kill Cascade, Chain Hook. Then doesn't matter. Blink Arrow Mirror, display their life incorrectly. Glacial Hammer, Volcanic Fissure. So dragging your first rogue's marker into your inventory, not credit towards your hard request. Okay. Fix the bug where hardest guarding out change stack delirium words into a different type could not be used on. Okay. Which only exists in standard releases of bug. Funny. Okay. So some bug fixes. Wow. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some looking at some math. Hey, Xenon Exoboro. How's it going? I don't know. I was gonna be doing Cold Dot, but since Vortex. Sin. Hi, Sin. Yes. Okay. Nice to meet you. Kitson. Oh, I see. Yeah, I was gonna do Cold Dot Witch, but with Vortex having a cast time, it's a big nerf. That's a big nerf. Huge to Cold Dots, and it seems like yeah, sure. I think they just changed the yeah, just increases projectile instead of projectile speed for quality. So if you have maximum quality, then you'll get an extra projectile. Yeah. So it's yeah, it's Lightning Strike is pretty much the same. I think they nerfed they definitely nerfed the Fire Trap Righteous Fire build a little bit. It seems like Discharge got nerfed because the Ralakash boots got pretty significantly hit with a nerf. I think. I'm not sure if it really matters as much as I think it does, but what else got nerfed? I don't know, but I was either going to be going a Ignite Witch or a Cold Dot Witch, and it looks like I'll be doing Ignite, maybe Detonate Dead Ignite. It doesn't look like they nerfed Detonate Dead at all. It looks like it's still the same. Let's see. Yeah, Detonate Dead hasn't changed. Armageddon Brand is a bit of a buff. I might also do Penance Brand, because it looks like it got some huge changes. I'm not sure if it's better or worse, but that I need to do some math with the base damage that it used to have versus the damage that it gets now. Anyway, you're doing Sin, are you doing a lightning strike? Are you doing like a raider or a pathfinder? A raider. Okay. Okay. Very good. I don't know. I know it did get a bit of a nerf because they... Oh, nice. Very nice. Yeah, I've done Lightning Strike Raider a couple of times. It's definitely fun. Do you just use was it Spectral Helix to level? Molten Strike. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Molten Strike. Oh, it's got a more 10% more multiplier instead of a 20% increased fire damage. Really interesting. I assume it's just a better playstyle. Spectral Helix just, oh god, the playstyle. Yeah, don't like it. It's kind of fun for the hammered in, you know, memories, but yeah, can kill bosses very easily. Okay, okay. Yeah. Makes sense. It doesn't seem... Yeah, they didn't do anything to Lightning Arrow. I don't think... I think it's gonna be another, like, Lightning Arrow, Detonate Dead. You know... It just really depends, I guess, on what their alternate effect gems are going to be. It's going to be a crazy league, though. All the gems are going to be having alternate effects. Oh, I don't know what my plans are going to be now, though. Ball skill. Yep. Target additional enemy. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and then you can just clear through things real quick. That's cool. That's a good way to go. Yeah. Doesn't seem like it got changed at all. I could do... Oh, no, I just don't want to. I don't know. I like to do both. Sometimes I like to do bosses. Sometimes I like to zoom through maps. I think I actually prefer zooming through maps. I like the challenge that bosses provide, but I like zooming through maps a bit more. I think with bosses, mostly it just depends on getting, you know, huge amounts of damage. So, like, once you get a guy who can just, you know, survive whatever the boss throws at it and kill it really fast, then it's kind of cool. But yeah, Frostblade, that's true. I mean, it did get a bit of a buff, I think. Frostblades, they get +2 projectiles instead of increased projectile speed, so that's a bit of a buff. The Frost Bomb nerf and the Vortex nerf really make me not want to play Cold Dot, which for leveling. So I think we're probably Blade Vortex. think that did have a change. Yeah, Blade Vortex gets... Yeah, Blade Vortex got nerfed. Right? Or no, it got buffed. Slightly buffed for base damage, nerfed for crit strike chance. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking more about like for leveling. Yeah. No problem. Just, you know, gotta get a head under day one. You're good. You're good. No, I think with the changes to gems, probably there's going to be a lot of melee skills that are good. Bone Shatter got a buff. Look at this. More damage per trauma instead of the stun duration on enemies. Like, that's just a direct, cool little buff. But yeah. Traps are okay. Flame Trap is okay. I'm not a huge fan of the trap playstyle. Better than mines, but you know, I like brands better, so that's why I'm thinking either Arma brand or Penance brand. I'll have to look at the damage. Yeah, I want to do spells. I've been doing strikes and melee stuff. Cast on crit discharge? Possible. I was thinking actually maybe doing arc. Arc got a huge buff. Look at this. So it's they increase the base crit strike. They remove the shock enemies and lightning ailments, and instead added a 15% more damage for every remaining chain. Arc is... I think Arc might be a really good way to go. At 15% more damage for hits and ailments. So Poison Arc. You know? Poison Arc instead of Poison Spark? I'm not sure. Because it's a more damage multiplier. Arc Witch, yeah. But how many, what is... So currently, oh, it chains 4 times right off the bat. So currently Arc is, yeah, it's going to be 15% chance more for each remaining chain. Oh, they changed all the gems already in the description. Okay, nice. Wait, did they? Oh. %. Oh, wait, never mind. No, that's pretty much the same. It's just ailments. They added ailments. So you can do Poison Arc. Which might be an endgame thing. They increased... It's not going to have the shock, though. Could do Arc Totems. Could do it. The biggest thing, though, they didn't really... I was expecting them to nerf the rewards from tendency, item balance, from what is it? The Sanctum. But all they did is reduce the drop rate of Forbidden Tome. It just says reduced. Doesn't say by how much, but it just says reduced. But Sanctum, the rewards didn't get reduced. Yeah. So I'm not sure what exactly that means. Yeah, did you play a lot of Sanctum last week? Ah. Yeah. I didn't either. I tried to get into it. I just couldn't. I'm just not good enough at dodging, and I didn't have a build that was really set up for it. I was thinking about it, but Ultimatum might be a thing that makes a lot of currency this league. Also, Heist might be really good. Yeah. Yeah, Sanctum, but that's the thing, is that they didn't change the rewards. I'm not sure what, like, maybe they reduce it 5%. That doesn't make it. If the Sanctums start costing, like, maybe, I don't know, it would have to be something like 1 divine per book, maybe 2 divines, somewhere around that range per tome. Then maybe Sanctums, like, it might be a big enough nerf, but I'm not even sure if that's enough. It might have to be even more, like, which would really reduce the drop rate. So yeah, I've been Do you want to play with you? I don't know. Do you want to play with you on day 1? Maybe you do. I don't know. I am not sure exactly. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what is going on day 1. That's going to be the 9th, I think, right? Yeah, maybe not something you want to share. Definitely not something I want to know about. Yeah, so yeah, I'm probably going to be streaming day 1, but I'm not sure. I might have a previous engagement day 1. It really depends on what's going on. I also play Go, so I have a tournament, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be this weekend. If it's not this week, next weekend, or the weekend after. I think it's the weekend after. If so, then I'll be definitely playing all the way through. And we can definitely hang out for a bit. I'd be down. I'm very slow at going through the league, though. Let's see. It looks like December 8th. December 8th. So, and this is Pacific Standard Time. So December 8th, California for me is December 9th. So, yeah, for me it's December 9th at 4 a.m. I think. Yeah. It's the day after, and I'm not sure about the hours. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do, though, knowing all this stuff. If anybody has some suggestions. Yeah. It's on a Friday for you. 7 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus 15 hours. Yeah, I'll be on the 9th for sure. At like, yeah, about 5 o'clock and then 4 o'clock in the morning on the 9th for me. So I'll probably be getting up a couple hours after that and getting on. Yeah, Cold Dot Witch, don't feel like playing. I don't want to deal with no Vortex tech. So it's either going to be a Fire or a Lightning Witch then. Maybe... Although I could just shift into... Fight Lightning. Yeah, I could shift to a Templar and go minions. That Sentinel of Radiance is ridiculous, and it doesn't seem like it got nerfed at all. So that might just be the easiest way to cruise through. Yeah. Yeah, that way I can do like shockwave totems maybe. Have something set up for Sanctum. It really depends on that drop rate. Heist is intriguing to me though. Yeah. Yeah, Shockwave Totem would... that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get fast with acts, because currently it takes me at minimum like 8 to 9 hours to get through acts. And I really want to cut that down. I'm so bad at it. Yes, pretty bad. I'd like to get it down to 6. Mostly just so that day 1, like I only have to do day 1 to do like the acts, and I don't feel like I'm like dying by the end of the first day. The other thing that looks really interesting is all of these new items and heist, because they said they buffed heist a lot, and I learned a lot about heist this league. Kind of makes me want to do totem, what is it, Toxic Rain again, because that was a really good league starter for heist. Super fast. With Pathfinder, Toxic Rain. But I've just been stuck in the bottom half of the tree for so long. I did Righteous Fire, and I've been doing I did Lightning Strike earlier this year. I just would really like to do something with the witches. Or I could do Templar. That would be nice too. I think I might do that. Although all of the, well, yeah, because you get that from, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at some builds. I should ask Gotham about it, because I think he did a Templar build with Sentinel of Radiance this last league. And then he pumped up I think he pumped up the aura effect gems, or aura effect with the tattoos. Just make it go crazy. Sentinel of Radiance is good for the Forbidden Sanctum too, I think. Interesting. Yeah. A lot of things to think about. It really also depends on what all their alternate type of gems that they're making are. I'm gonna keep my eye out for any last minute like mistakes, because you know, like companies who put stuff out last minute all the time make mistakes. It's how some of the best cards in Magic the Gathering got printed. Still can't believe that they thought giving -1 life to Skull Clamp was a good idea. So sad. So sad. But yeah, it looks like Lightning Strike, a bit of a buff. So you're gonna be good. Not exactly sure how the splitting the steel mechanics are gonna work now though. And all the heralds got yeah, Infect was also pretty crazy. It didn't used to be so bad because Poison was always on things that were a little bit wonky, but then they put out Infect and it was just like, degenerates. Not quite as bad as what was the one? Metal. No, what is it? Not metal. Affinity. Affinity is the worst. Affinity is the most degenerate thing that game ever did. Yeah, all the heralds got some interesting, like either buffs or nerfs. Herald of Ice got a nerf. Herald of Ash got kind of a weird change, but it does fit more with the gems, so yes, the Jace, yeah, unlimited copies and limited turns thing, true, but Affinity could kill you on turn 3, like every game, couldn't stop it, and it could counter spell anything that you did to try to stop it. Affinity was just too broken. Too broken. Other than, you know, the shenanigans that people do with the tier 1, like vintage, you know, vintage stuff is obviously can kill you turn 0. The turn 0 kill with Flash Hulk was the most degenerate thing that the game ever produced, but it was also very inconsistent, so yes. Green. Green was good. Oh, so many options. Yeah, I'll have to think about it a lot, but I think cold witch is out for sure. Definitely not going to do a cold dot witch. Fire looks more plausible, or I might just do Templar with Sentinel of Radiance, because that seems like it might just be the easiest, but I am not sure. I'll have to take a look at some more builds and stuff and see what people have been doing and kind of what gems come out. Yep. Looks like it's gonna be fun times. Nope. Heat Shiver nerf. Heat Shiver hard nerf. Heat Shiver, they reduce the increased damage by 70%. Item balance. Where is it? Unique balance. Yeah, Heat Shiver. 30% cold damage instead of 100%. So, yeah. Hard nerf. Super nerf. I don't think that it's worth it now. Especially because, yeah, it's only a 30% extra fire damage instead of 100%. So, especially because they don't have what is it? Enchants on helmets anymore. They got rid of enchants on helmets, so now you're probably better off just with a rare, a really good crafted rare. Because the other stuff on Heat Shiver doesn't really do anything. Everybody was using it for the extra 100% damage. The other stuff just doesn't, it's not worth it. Like, there are just a bunch of other helmets that are better, I think. Yeah. Hey, LG! How's it going? Not much. Just going through patch notes, seeing what's going on. Rejoicing in the super nerf on Heat Shiver. And saddened by the nerf of Vortex. Yeah, is that base fire damage that big of a deal? I mean, I thought it was a pretty big deal, but I wasn't sure because they increased the amount from your life and energy shield. So if you can scale up your life and energy shield, it might be worth it. But yeah, because they also nerfed fire trap. So that's this one. What is it? Righteous Fire. Yeah. Yeah, that 2000 base damage is... Yeah. It's so much base damage, and you can't scale up the gems. It doesn't scale up by gem level anymore. Unless the, like, 70% of maximum life becomes, like, 140%. Or something like that. Like, maybe if they do something like that, you'd have to see how the scaling works exactly. Then maybe you could switch over to it at the, like, once you get to red maps, but yeah, I think people are not going to be using it. You have to scale too much into life and energy shield. Yeah. I think I would agree. But also, look, they nerfed the quality too. They nerfed the 20% increased burning damage on quality too. Like, yeah, it's that's a pretty stiff nerf. And fire trap. Fire trap. Increase area of effect instead of increase fire damage for quality. So yeah, quite a big nerf. I wouldn't be surprised if it was dead. Any thoughts on Templar or Witch? Which one might be better? I'm really tempted to go for the Sentinel of Radiance instead of trying to do Detonate Dead, because I'm really bad with dealing with multiple skills. Plus my hands are getting old and I sometimes get some pains. Some pains! All the pains! Oh. Cast one crit Detonate Dead. Inquisitor SRS. Yeah, that's true. That didn't get any nerfs, did it? Inquis, Poison, SRS. Where is that? Raging Spirits. Oh, it actually got a buff. It actually got a buff. Jeez. Good for Sankum. Not bad for Heist either. I mean, it's not as fast as like a Ranger or a Ranger build, but huh. Okay. SRS definitely on the list. I'm gonna look at our Penance brand probably. Just because this base damage, look at this base damage and increase, it's so crazy. $2,000 to $3,000 at gem level 20. It's pretty crazy. And it's fizz damage too, so you can convert it. Yeah. And plus 10% more damage instead of increased AoE. So it's like it got giga buffed. Yeah, got him. Yeah, patch notes are out. RF is giga nerfed. Penance brand looks like it got giga buffed. I'm not sure what this whole energy thing did though. I'm not 100% sure. So I'd have to look at like the difference in numbers between old and new. Cold dot got nerfed. Vortex now has a cast speed. Maybe. Just look at the, because look at this base damage at gem level 20. 2,500 to 3,800. Physical damage. Plus a 10% more against branded enemies. Oh, Heat Shiver got nerfed. Maybe. I'm not sure. Because it used to do this thing where it would spend energy to do things. And then I think it, like, the energy, like, made it stronger. It made damage, yeah, per energy. So I'm not sure exactly what the difference converts to. It's definitely simpler to understand, though. Okay, wait, let's check that out. I'm super excited about being able to try out Ultimatum. Okay. So it has a 50% conversion to lightning. Okay. So it adds energy stacks to the targets. Your energy that hasn't been energized. When released, the sword energy detonates, dealing area of effect damage. Energy stacks capped at 20. Yeah. Yep. Then convert to cold through Brotherhood. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. Energy stacks had a cap of 20. So it was 20 times times 150. So that would be 3. For energy after the first. Okay, so the first hit didn't do it. Okay, so let me see. Trying to figure out the increased damage. So it's 3,000 more damage. So 3,000. Then at 20. Right? That's 3,000 more damage. 150 times 20. Am I dumb here? Yeah, no, that's 3,000. So it's a 3,000% more damage with hits per energy after the first. And then at gem level 20, it would do... Uh-oh, okay, so 170... $5,000. Oh, and maybe it's a nerf. Wait, but it only explodes at the end? Oh, it no longer causes an explosion when it expires or detaches from an enemy. It no longer has attached duration. Instead, it remains attached and then it expires. No longer gains damage. Okay. Got him, LG. Finn, can you guys help me with this? What does this effectively work out to? Had a damage effectiveness of 570%. That seems like a buff, right? Because it used to be 3,000%. Wait. So you do the thing times 300. So if you add one lightning flat, yeah. It would count as 5. Okay. So we're gonna, oh, so you multiply this number by this number. So that seems like a big buff. That seems like too big of a buff, though. Because it's almost like a triple buff. It's like a 3 times the buff. Ah, okay, so it's a 500 added damage from support and gear. I see. So it'll do this base damage, and then it'll do this. Okay. So I think before, what its base damage was at gem level 20 was 170. Energy set for each set of the first one. The brand will do more damage upon release. Okay, so basically you would try to get it to 20 and then make it release as fast as possible. How often does it give energy? Did it give energy? Okay, so every time it activates, it would give energy. So interesting. So it's not as, it wasn't as consistent, but it would be doing 170. And then it, let's just say that it had the full 20, so that'd be times. Okay, so that's 51,000 minimal damage for full 20 stacks. Yeah. And then this one is boy, I'm not sure. I can't figure it out. I'm too dumb. The energy thing, I'm just kind of confused by how that exactly worked. Like, it went up and then it did slightly more energy. Adjust the first hits. Okay. Explosions deal 90% more damage with ailments per energy after the first, and 150 per hit. I'll look off camera. I'll see if I can figure it out. But if that's good, if that works out to be, you know, a buff, a pretty big buff, I might do that. Hey, got him. You were talking about you were thinking about doing a Sentinel of Radiance, right? You did that last league. No Sentinel of Radiance nerf. All of the qualities on the heralds got changed a bit, but I don't think so. I don't remember seeing it. Did it? Maybe I missed it. Hold on. Where is it? Nope. The only thing that got changed for Ascendancies was they buffed chieftains by giving your totems the ability to kill too. So yeah, no, this is Sentinel of Radiance is still good to go. Unless I'm missing it somewhere else. Here, I'll look it up. No. Yep. Chieftain Totem Explode. Chieftain Ignite. Yeah, that could work. Yep. Totem Explode Ignite. Could work. That could be a pretty good build. I don't want to do Chieftain, though. I don't want to do any Marauder builds. I'm tired of the bottom half of the tree. Only done the bottom half of the tree, really. For most of the time that I've played. I've only ever made one Inquisitor that was a Righteous Fire Inquisitor, so it's the only Templar I've ever made. So we've got SRS, which got buffed. Penance Brand, maybe. Sentinel of Radiance didn't have any nerfs. Detonate Dead is still good. I'm looking for some spell casting builds. I think that's pretty good list. I'm not sure. What are you thinking, LG? What are you gonna go? LG got him. What are you guys gonna be going as? I know Sin's gonna be doing Lightning Strike, so I know that build quite well. Poison looks fine. Doesn't really look like they did anything to it. I mean, I don't know. It depends. What would they have to do to the gems? Basically, they spent all of their time changing out the skill gem thing and adding in ultimatum. It's basically what this whole league is. They added ultimatum, got rid of metamorph, and then did the whole skill gem change. And also added in the entire affliction mechanics, all the affliction mechanics. So, ooh, yeah, ultimatum. Yeah, SRS is looking pretty good actually. Hexblast got a buff, I'm pretty sure. Although the Malachi's boots thing, the boots that give you all those charges got nerfed. I think Hexblast got buffed. Slight buff. Did it? No, I missed it. No, it did not get buffed. What was the one? Something got buffed. What was it? I think it's up here. I can't remember. It doesn't look like. Never mind. Misspoke. What was I gonna say? Oh, right. No, Hex Bloom support. Those are the only Hex things that got changed. Oh, there was another one. Can't remember the name of the skill. No changes to Hex Blast. Except for, the Ralakesh unique boots got, I think this is a nerf. You don't actually get the charges anymore or lose the charges. You just count as having the charges. And I think it's a pretty big nerf. Heat Shiver got nerfed. Calm Spirit. Unique Gloves got nerfed. Ashes got nerfed. And Dragon Fang's Flights got a bit of a nerf. Not too bad, but... Yeah, but Heat Shiver, I think, is dead. That's too big. If they did 50%, I think people would still use it some of the time, but 70% is too much. Too much. People still use Ashes, but that's a big nerf for Ashes of the Stars, too. I think people might start using different amulets. I thought there was a... Blast, Cosmic Blast, Kinetic Blast. No. There's another one. Bane. Bane got a bit of a buff. That's what I was thinking of. But it's interesting, and then they're adding in a bunch of new skills too. So like, well, not new skills, but they're adding in a bunch of alternate kinds of base skills, which might be what makes Righteous Fire still possible. But yeah, for now, probably dead. Okay, I'm gonna look at some SRS builds. I think that's probably the way to go. That's probably the safest way to go. It got a bit of a buff. It seems like all the minion stuff got a bit of a buff. And yeah, now what ascendancy do people usually do with SRS? Is it a witch or like an occultist, or do they go guardian SRS? Is that the thing? I'm not sure. Try Ellie Guardian. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking then, because then you can pop in, you can do Sentinel of Radiance too. Bossing, poison with Necro. Okay. I think I'll do the I think I'll do the Tri-Ellie Guardian with Sentinel of Radiance and Summon Reaching Spirits, right? Yeah, I don't want to do a champion. I think. Yeah, I'll look at that Sentinel of Radiance. I want to do something that's pretty easy gameplay. I don't want to have to like use my hand too much. I was doing that way too much this last league, so. Yeah. Okay. Like poison, but no dot cap. Yeah, that dot cap will get you. And that volatility gem really increased the lightning DPS. Okay. All right, well, if there aren't any other recommendations, I think that's going to be all for me today. I've got to get going and get my life in order, making some choices about either doing SRS or Penance Brand or Detonate Dead, something like that. But thank you all for commenting. Check out some of my videos, if you would please, about trying to level the acts faster, Act 1 through 3. Any comments you guys have for those would be great. That's going to be all over on YouTube. Like any feedback you can give me, really trying to get better at doing the campaign. So that would be very helpful. Thank you very much. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Latest. Bye-bye. Oh, can you send that to me on my Discord, please? Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.